A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Lux presents Hollywood. The Lux Radio Theater brings you Edward G. Robinson, Gail Patrick, and Laird Cregar in The Maltese Falcon. Ladies and gentlemen, your producer, Mr. Cecil B. DeMille.
Greetings from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Some people like mystery stories because of the intellectual challenge they present. Personally, I'm seldom able to figure out who done it without skipping to the back of the book. But give me a good detective story, and like presidents, bankers, housewives, and chorus girls the country over, I find that my own troubles fold up their tents like the Arabs and silently steal away. Tonight we point with pride to a triumph of the art. The Dashiell Hammett classic, The Maltese Falcon, brought to us by three of our favorite stars, Edward G. Robinson, Gail Patrick, and Laird Cregar. The Warner Brothers screenplay was masterfully written and directed by John Huston, who comes by his talent naturally because he's Walter Huston's son. For the next hour, we'll follow the eerie trail of this fabulous falcon, which is coveted by many people to their great ill fortune and to the great ill health of a few. I think most of us have a secret desire to be detectives. At least that seems to be very true of this audience, because you've done some good practical detective work by discovering dozens of different ways to use Lux Flakes. And that doesn't make any of us unhappy. Nowadays, many familiar materials are doing a wartime job. Nylon and silk are going into parachutes, cotton, rayon, and wool into uniforms, and many other wartime uses. That means that we on the home front must make the things we have last longer, so that our boys on the fighting front will have what they need. You're all trying to track down ways and means to make washable fabrics last, and the clue that's giving you domestic detectives the solution is Lux Flakes. But now let's track down the Maltese Falcon, because here's the first act, starring Edward G. Robinson as Sam Spade, Gail Patrick as Bridget, and Laird Cregar as Gutman. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the city of San Francisco lies sleeping under a blanket of fog. Along a lonely street, a man walks slowly, his footsteps ringing hollowly against the wet pavement. He passes a deserted alley and stops. The man turns and peers for a long time into the shadows. Suddenly, one of the shadows moves. The man stumbles backward. His hands reach out to shield his body.
All right, Spade, open up. We know you're in there, Spade. Come on.
Who is it?
It's Dundee and Polehouse. Want to speak to you.
Come in, Lieutenant. Nice time to make a call.
Yeah.
4 a.m. Or did you watch stop?
We don't have any hours on the force, Spade. Got a couple of questions to ask you.
Sure. Hi, Tom. Hello, Sam.
What do you know about this killing, Spade?
Very little.
Archie was your partner, wasn't he?
That's right.
Spade and Archie, private detective. I guess you'll have to change that name.
Yeah. From now on, it's just Sam Spade.
Yeah. You don't seem very broken up over this, Spade. Miles Archie gets shot dead 2 hours ago, and you toss it off like a scotch and soda.
Oh, excuse me. Will you have one, Lieutenant?
No, I won't.
Okay. Mind if I have one, Lieutenant?
No.
You don't like me, do you, Dundee?
I don't like any cops who aren't on the force. I asked you what you knew about Miles Archie getting killed.
Well, once again, very little. Your boys called me at 10 after 2. I understand they found a Webley automatic in the alley with one bullet out of it.
Yeah. Was Archie out on a job last night?
Well, sure. He was supposed to be telling a fellow named Floyd Thursby.
Thursby? What for?
Come on, Spade. What for?
We were trying to find out where he lived.
Spade, suppose you answer once without thinking so hard.
I don't like this, Dundee. What are you sucking around for? Tell me to get out.
I asked you why you were tailing Thursby.
I wasn't. Miles was. For the swell reason that we had a client who was paying good United States money to have him tailed.
Who's the client?
Well, I'm sorry. I can't tell you that.
Be reasonable, Sam. Give us a chance. How can we turn up anything on Miles' killing if you won't tell us what you've got?
Okay. It was a girl who wanted us to tail Thursby.
What girl?
She came into the office yesterday afternoon. I didn't know who she was. Effie announced her about 3 o'clock. Said there was a girl to see me. A girl named Wanda.
There's a girl to see you, Mr. Spade. She says her name's Wonderly.
What is she, Effie? A customer?
I guess so. You'll want to see her anyway, Mr. Spade. She's a knockout.
Oh, sure we're in, Effie, darling.
Will you come in, Miss Wonderly? Thank you.
Mr. Spade?
Yeah, that's right. Now, what can I do for you, Miss Wonderly?
Well, I don't know where to start. I asked at the hotel for the name of a reliable private detective, and they mentioned yours.
I see. Well, I suppose you tell me about it from the very beginning.
Well, I'm from New York. I've come here to find my sister.
Uh-huh. Well, are you sure she's in San Francisco?
Well, she was 2 weeks ago. I had a letter from her. She came here with a man named Thursby, Floyd Thursby.
You mean she ran away with her?
Yes. Oh, Mr. Spade, I've got to find her. Mother and father in Honolulu, and it would kill them. I've got to get her back before they come home.
Well, what did she say in the letter?
Nothing, except that she was all right. I sent her a note begging her not to do anything foolish. I sent it to General Delivery. I told her I was coming out to get her. I shouldn't have done that, should I?
Well, it's not always easy to know what to do. You haven't found her?
No. No, I told her I'd be at the St. Mark for her to meet me there. But I've waited 3 whole days. She didn't come, didn't even send a message.
Well, go on.
Oh, it was horrible, waiting. But yesterday afternoon I went to the post office. Corinne didn't come for her mail, but Floyd Thursby did.
Well, did you speak to him?
Yes. He wouldn't tell me where Corinne was, but he promised to bring her to the hotel this evening.
Hi, Sam. Say, Oh, excuse me.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right, Miles. Miss Wonderly, this is Mr. Archer, my partner.
Well, how do you do?
Mr. Archer?
Anything I can do, Sam?
Well, Miss Wonderly's sister ran away from New York with a fellow named Thursby. Miss Wonderly has seen Thursby and has a date with him tonight at the St. Mark. Maybe he'll bring the sister with him, but the chances are he won't. Miss Wonderly wants us to find the sister and get her away from him and back home, right?
Yes. But I want you to know that he's a dangerous man. I don't think he'd stop at anything. I don't believe he'd hesitate to kill Corinne if he thought it would save him.
But at what time is he coming to see you?
Between 8 and 10.
All right, Miss Wonderly, we'll have a man there.
Oh, no, Sam, no. This is too important for that. I'll look after it myself, Miss Wonderly.
Oh, thank you.
Not at all.
Oh, here, I've brought some money. Will $200 be enough?
Well, to begin with, yes. Oh, well, by the way, it would help some if you'd meet Thursday in the lobby.
Oh, I will.
You don't have to look for me, Miss Wonderly. I'll see you all right.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Miss Wonderly. See you tonight.
Yes, goodbye.
Well, Miles, what do you think of it?
You saw her first, Sam, but I spoke first.
I wasn't talking about a figure. What about a story?
Huh? Oh, what about it?
Well, you got a great brain, Miles. Yes, you have.
So Miles went out to tail Thursby last night, huh?
Yeah.
And Thursby shot him. Is that what you think?
Well, that's what you think, Dundee. I don't know.
Tom, get on the phone. Call the St. Mark and ask for a girl named Wonderly.
I thought of that myself, Lieutenant. She's never registered. The whole story is probably a fake.
Oh, was it? How about yours, Mr. Spade?
Tom, what's your boyfriend getting at?
I'll tell you what I'm getting at. Floyd Thursby was shot down in front of his hotel an hour ago.
Take your paws off me.
Easy, boss. Don't drop him up.
Where were you tonight, Spade?
I was right here all night long.
You got any proof?
No. So you think I shot Thursby, huh?
Yeah, I think you did.
Well, I know where I stand now. Did Thursby die?
Yes.
How did I kill him? I forget.
He was shot 3 times in the back with a .44.
Hotel people know anything about him?
Nothing except he'd been there a week.
Alone?
Alone.
Well, did you find out who he was, what his game was?
Nope. We thought you could tell us that.
I've never seen Thursby, dead or alive.
Now, look, Spade. If you did get Thursby, you'll get a square deal out of me and most of the breaks. I don't know that I blame you a lot, the man who killed your partner, but that wouldn't keep me from nailing you.
Well, fair enough. But I'd feel better about it if you'd have a drink with me. No?
No.
Well, good night, gentlemen. I'm tired. Hello? Yes? Oh, hello, Miss Wantley. Where are you? Where? Card at apartment 101, huh? I'll be there in a few minutes. Oh, by the way, what's your name this morning? Miss LeBlanc. Okay, Miss LeBlanc.
I have a terrible confession to make.
Yeah? Well, go ahead, Miss LeBlanc.
Well, that story I told you yesterday was all a story.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't believe your story anyhow. I believed you $200.
Oh?
You paid too much for someone who was telling the truth.
Oh, I see.
Now, let's clear up one thing first, Miss LeBlanc.
What?
Your name. Now, what is it? Not LeBlanc.
No, it's really Shaughnessy.
First name?
Bridget.
Bridget Shaughnessy. Oh, that's one I can believe.
Mr. Spade, tell me, am I to blame for last night?
Well, you warned us that Thursby was dangerous. I wouldn't say it was your fault.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Archer was so alive yesterday. So solid and hearty.
Now, stop it. He knew what he was doing. Those are the chances we take. Anyway, there's no time for worrying about that. Right now, there's a flock of cops running around with their noses to the ground.
Mr. Spade, do they know about me?
Well, so far, all they know is that there's a girl somewhere.
But must they know about me at all, Mr. Spade? Couldn't you manage to shield me from
Well,
them?
maybe, but I'll have to know what it's all about.
Well, I can't tell you now. Later I will. You'll have to trust me. Oh, I'm so alone and afraid. I've got nobody to help me if you won't. Please trust me. Help me. Be generous, Mr. Spade.
You don't need much of anybody's help. You're good. Keep your eyes, I think. And that throb you get into your voice when you say things like, be generous, Mr. Spade.
All right. I deserve that. But the lie was in the way I said it, not in what I said. You can leave if you like.
No, not yet. I've got nothing against trusting you blindly, but I can't do you any good if I don't know what it's all about. For instance, I've got to have some sort of a line on your friend Thursby.
I met him in Hong Kong. We came here just last week.
Where? Not from Hong Kong?
No.
Where?
Well, I can't tell you.
Well, go on.
I needed him. I was completely dependent on him. He knew it, and he took advantage of it to double-cross me.
How?
I can't tell you that either.
Well, why'd you want him shadowed?
I wanted to learn how far he'd gone, whom he was meeting.
Did he kill Archer?
Yes, certainly.
Well, Thursby had a Luger in his shoulder holster. Archer wasn't killed with a Luger.
Floyd always carried an extra revolver in his overcoat pocket.
Well, why all the guns?
He lived by them.
You picked a nice playmate. All right, let's have it now. How bad a spot are you in?
As bad could be.
Physical danger?
Yes, and I'm not heroic. I don't think there's anything worse than death.
Now, shut up. You mean someone might kill you?
Yes, and they'll get me unless you help. You've got to help. Do you hear? You've got to.
I said shut up. All right, I'll help you. And they'll probably give it to me, too, huh? All right, so what? I guess I won't be the first guy who let a dame make a sucker out of him.
He's back again, Mr. Spade.
Who, Effie?
The fellow was here this morning. Here's his card.
Joel Cairo. Is he a character?
Mm-hmm. Foreign type. He smells like gardenia.
Gardenia, huh? Well, shoot him in, Effie.
Right. Will you come in, Mr. Cairo?
You're very kind. Thank you.
No, sit down, Mr. Cairo.
Thank you.
I'm Sam Spade. Something I can do for you, Mr. Cairo?
Yes, thank you. But first, may a stranger offer condolences for your partner's unfortunate death?
Thank you.
And may I ask, Mr. Spade, if there is a certain relationship between that and the death of the man Thursby? May I ask that?
No.
I beg your pardon. Mr. Spade, I'm trying to recover an ornament that has been, shall we say, mislaid. I thought and hoped you could assist me.
Yeah?
The ornament is a statuette, the black figure of a bird.
Yeah?
And I'm prepared to pay on behalf of the figure's rightful owner the sum of $5,000 for its recovery and, what is the phrase? No questions will be asked.
Well, $5,000 is a lot of money. Come in.
Is there anything else for me, Mr. Spade?
Oh, no. Good night, Effie. And lock the door when you go, will you?
Good night.
Yes, Mr. Cairo. $5,000 is a very... What do you think you're doing?
I'm pointing a revolver at a spot directly between your eyes. You will please clasp your hands together at the back of your neck and do not move. I intend to search your office, and if you attempt to prevent me, I shall certainly shoot you.
All right, go ahead.
You will please stand. I shall make sure you are not armed.
Certainly. All right, Mr. Cairo. Drop the gun, please. Drop it. Drop it, or do I twist your arm off the elbow?
You, here. Take it.
Yeah. Thanks. Now sit down over there and behave yourself.
You have bruised me, Mr. Spade.
Well, I'm sorry. I guess I got a little annoyed. I don't like guys who make a phony offer of $5,000.
You are mistaken, Mr. Spade. That was and is a genuine offer.
Yeah?
And I am prepared to pay $5,000 for the figure's return. You have the figure?
No.
Then why did you risk serious injury to prevent my searching for it?
Well, I should sit around, let people come in and stick me up, so the offer still goes, huh?
Most certainly.
All right. Now, let's put the cards on the table. Your first guess was that I have the bird. Now, there's nothing to that. Now, what's your second guess?
That you know where it is, or at least that you know it is where you can get it.
Well, you're not hiring me to do any murders or burglaries for you, but simply to get it back, if possible, in an honest, lawful way.
If possible, and in any event with discretion. I'm at the Hotel Belvedere when you wish to communicate with me. Good evening, Mr. Spade.
So long. Oh, wait. You know a girl named Wanderley?
No, I do not.
LeBlanc?
No.
Well, how about Bridget Shaughnessy?
The Hotel Belvedere, Mr. Spade. Room 655.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, may I have my revolver back, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'd forgotten that. Yeah. Here you are.
Thank you. Now, you would please keep your hands behind your head. I still intend to search your office.
Well, I'll be. All right, go ahead.
Thank you.
Come in, Mr. Spade. Do you have any news for me?
Yeah, a little.
I mean, did you manage it so that the police won't have to know about me?
No, they won't. For a while, anyway.
Oh. Well, you won't get into any trouble. You won't, Mr. Spade.
Oh, I don't mind a reasonable amount of trouble.
Do sit down, please.
Do sit down, please. Now, look, you aren't exactly the sort of person you pretend to be, are you?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Well, schoolgirl manner, stammering, blushing, and all that. Because if you are, honey, we'll never get anyplace. Now, stop acting.
All right, I'm sorry.
Good. I saw Joel Kyra tonight.
You know him?
Only slightly.
What did he say?
About what?
About me.
Nothing.
Well, what did he talk about?
Well, he offered me $5,000 for the Black Bird.
Oh, did he? And what did you say?
Well, I said $5,000 is a lot of money.
It is. It's a lot more than I could ever offer you if I must bid for your loyalty.
Oh, that's good. Coming from you. Now, what have you given me besides $200? Have you given me any of your confidence, any of the truth?
Can't you trust me a little longer?
Well, how much is a little? What are you waiting for?
Well, I must talk to Joel Cairo.
Well, you can see him tonight.
He can't come here. I can't let him know where I am. I'm afraid.
Well, my place, then. What about it?
All right. Your place.
Good.
But wait. You'll have to let me go about this in my own way. You mustn't interfere.
Well, I'll just sit and listen while you talk over old times.
You're a strange person. I like you.
Yeah? Well, don't overdo it. Sit down, Mr. Cairo. Sit down, Miss Shaughnessy.
I might advise you, Mr. Spade. There's a boy outside who seems to be watching the house.
Yes, I know. I spotted him.
What boy? Who is he?
Oh, I don't know. Gunman, I guess. He's been telling me around town all evening.
Did he follow you to my apartment?
No, I shook him before that. Well, let's start the meeting.
I'm delighted to see you again, Miss Shaughnessy.
I was sure you would be, Joel.
Well, I'll mix the drink. Just go ahead, Bridget.
Mr. Spade told me about your order for the Falcon. How soon can you have the money ready?
It is ready.
In cash?
Oh, yes.
You're ready to give us $5,000 if we turn over the Falcon to you.
I should be able to give you the money at, say, 10:30 in the morning.
But I haven't got the Falcon.
What?
Oh, don't worry. I'll have it in another week at the most.
Why must I wait a week?
Well, perhaps not a whole week.
And why, if I may ask, are you willing to sell it to me at all?
I'm afraid, after what happened to Floyd. I'm afraid to touch it except to turn it over to somebody else right away.
Tell me, exactly what did happen to Floyd?
He was murdered by the fat man.
Fat man? Is he here?
I don't know. I suppose so. What difference does it make?
It might make a world of difference.
Yes, you might be able to get around the fat man, Joel, as you did that one in Istanbul. What was his name? The one you did away with.
That is a lie, you dirty little...
Get away, fella. Get away, do you hear?
Oh!
Now, cool down.
This is the second time you've put your hands on me, Mr. Spade.
I'll try and make it the last. Now, you better get out, Carol. I'll call you tomorrow.
You're working for her now, is that it?
I'm working for myself. If you want to withdraw your offer, just say so.
The offer still stands.
Well, all right, get out.
Very well. Good night, Mr. Spade.
Well, you've got some fine friends, Miss Shaughnessy. Do they always try to throttle you?
I suppose I ought to thank you.
You've had your talk with Cairo. Now you can talk to me.
Well, it didn't work out the way I hoped. I'll have to go now.
No, not until you've told me about it.
Am I a prisoner?
Maybe. Or maybe that kid outside hasn't gone home yet.
Do you think he's still there?
Likely.
I'll stay. For a while, anyhow.
Okay. Now, what's this bird, this falcon that everybody's all steamed up about?
It's a black figure of a bird, a hawk or a falcon, about a foot high.
Well, what makes it so important?
I don't know. They wouldn't tell me. But they promised me $5,000 if I helped them get it from the man who had it.
That was in Istanbul.
Yes.
Well, go ahead.
That's all. They promised me the money to help them, and I did. And then we found out that Joel Cairo meant to desert us, taking the falcon with him and leaving Floyd and me nothing, so we did exactly that to Mr. Cairo. But then I wasn't any better off than before because Floyd hadn't any intention of keeping his promise to me about sharing equally. I learned that by the time we got here.
What's the bird made of?
Porcelain or black stone, I don't know.
You're a liar.
What?
A liar.
Yes, I am. I've always been a liar.
Now, don't brag about it. Is there any truth at all in that yarn?
Some. Not very much.
All right. We've got all night before us. I'll put some coffee on and we'll try again.
Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of lying and thinking up lies and not knowing what is a lie and what's the truth. Don't ask me. Please don't. If there's any kindness in you at all.
Now, what are you trying now? That's right. Turn on the beauty. Let your eyes get nice and starry. Put your arms around my neck and look pleadingly at me. Now, you're great. Do you think it's going to get you anyplace?
Oh, I couldn't with you.
No? Well, don't be so sure.
We'll hear Act Two of The Maltese Falcon, starring Edward G. Robinson, Gail Patrick, and Laird Kriegar, in just a moment. Meantime, I have exciting news for you. The package of Lux you have in your home now looks just like the package you've always bought. But the flakes inside have been improved so that they can help you more than ever to save washables in wartime. Washables that may be irreplaceable. Remember, the Lux your dealer has now in the same familiar package is new improved Lux. Improved 3 ways. The first way, Mrs. Burton, how would you like to have a Lux that's even milder and safer than ever?
Why, that would be wonderful. But it's hard to see how Lux could be milder.
Well, new improved Lux is the mildest, safest ever made. To give today's precious washables the super safe care they need to make them last longer. Now, Mrs. Johnson, suppose I told you suds from new improved Lux are even richer, more cleansing than before.
Why, that's just what I need for the children's things. A soap that's really mild, but that really gets after the dirt.
And Mrs. Sutherland, how would you like a Lux made with suds that are even longer lasting?
Even longer lasting than before? Why, that would make Lux thriftier than ever.
Yes, new improved Lux is better than ever for every soap and water job you have to do. First, it's the mildest, safest Lux ever made. Second, its suds are richer, more cleansing. Third, they're longer-lasting suds that do more work. Give more of your washables this super-safe Lux care. Not only silks and woolens and rayons, but gay cottons, all your colored things. New improved Lux comes in the same familiar box. Your dealer has it now. Now, our producer, Mr. DeMille.
Act Two of The Maltese Falcon, starring Edward G. Robinson as Sam Spade, Gail Patrick as Bridget, and Laird Kriegar as Gutman. On the trail of the Black Falcon, Sam Spade has followed nothing but blind alleys. But now a call comes from his secretary.
He was here twice, Mr. Spade. He wouldn't leave his name, though.
No place I can reach him?
He said something about the Hotel Barclay.
Well, what did he look like, Effie? Can you describe him?
That's easy enough. A big fellow, about 270 pounds.
Yeah? The fat man.
In the lobby of the Hotel Barclay, Sam Spade watches for the fat man. But he sees only the boy who has followed him for the last 3 days.
All right, son. Where is he?
What?
Come on, where is he? You work for him, don't you?
Who?
A fat man. I want to speak to him.
What do you think you're doing, Jack? Kidding me?
I'll tell you when I am. You've been tailing around after me for 3 days, and I'm getting a little sick of it. You can tell the fat man I said so.
Shove off.
You'll have to talk to me before you're through, Sonny, and so will he.
I said shove
You
off.
can take your hand out of your pocket. Guns don't scare me much.
Keep asking for it, and you're going to get it. Plenty.
People lose their teeth talking like that. If you want to hang around, be polite. I told the fat man to call me and leave his name.
Hello, Mr. Spade. Mr. Gutman called. He says the boy gave him the message. Room 407, the Barclay, this afternoon at 3.
Ah, Mr. Spade. Delighted to see you, delighted.
How do you do, Mr. Goodman?
Sit down, my friend. We'll have a little drink.
Well, I can't stay long. Sorry, I've got an appointment at the district attorney's office.
So? It's interesting. Say when, Mr. Spade?
Oh, I'll leave it to you.
Excellent, excellent. I distrust a man who says when. If he's got to be careful not to drink too much, it's because he's not to be trusted when he does. You're a close-mouthed man, Mr. Spade.
No, I like the talk. I enjoy it.
Better and better. I distrust a close-mouthed man. He generally picks the wrong time to talk and says the wrong thing. Well, sir, we'll talk.
That's well. Will we talk about the black bird?
You're the man for me, sir. No beating about the bush, but right to the point. But first, sir, answer me a question. Are you here as Miss Shaughnessy's representative or Mr. Cairo?
Well, there's nothing certain about it either way yet. It depends.
But which will you represent? It will be one or the other.
Not necessarily.
Who else is there?
Well, there's me.
Ah, that's wonderful, sir. Wonderful. I do like a man who tells you right off that he's looking out for himself.
Let's talk about the black bird.
Let's. Mr. Spade, have you any conception of how much money can be got for that black bird?
No.
Well, sir, if I told you half, you'd call me a liar.
No, not even if I thought so.
You know what the bird is, of course.
No, I don't.
You don't? They didn't tell you that?
Well, I know what it's supposed to look like, and I know the value in human life you people put on it.
But Miss Shaughnessy didn't tell you what it is. And Cairo didn't either? They must know what it is. But do they? What is your impression, sir?
Well, there isn't much to go by. Cairo wouldn't talk. The girl said she didn't know, but I took it for granted she was lying.
Then they don't know. I am the only one in this whole wide, wonderful world who does.
That's great. When you've told me, that'll make two of us.
Mathematically, correct, sir. But I don't know for certain that I'm going to tell you.
Now, don't be foolish. You know what it is. I know where it is. That's why I'm here.
Well, sir, where is it? There, you see? I must tell things, but you refuse. That is hardly equitable, sir. No. I don't think we can do business along these lines.
You don't, huh? Well, think again and think fast. I told that gunman of yours that you'd have to talk to me before you finished. Now, I'll tell you now that you'll do your talking today or you're through. Now, what are you wasting my time for? I can get along without you. Now, talk!
Anything wrong, boss?
Come in, Wilmer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, come in, Sonny. Keep your hand off your gun or I'll knock your ears down.
Listen, you...
Wilmer. Just stand over there, Wilmer. Excitable young man, Mr. Spade.
Well, make up your mind, Gutman. While you're doing it, keep that gunsel away from me. I'll kill him.
Mr. Spade, I must say you've a most violent temper.
Well, think it over. You've got till 5:30. Then you're either in or out for keeps.
Now, look, Mr. Spade. I've got a murder on. The boss is yelling for a conviction. We need your help. Now, perhaps you don't, but you could make an excellent guess.
Well, my guess might be excellent or it might be crummy, but Mrs. Spade didn't raise any children dippy enough to make guesses in front of a district attorney and a stenographer.
Mr. Spade, I wish you wouldn't regard this as a formal inquiry, and please don't think I have any belief in those theories that police seem to call. You see, they think you killed Thursday.
Yeah? Well, what's your theory?
Simple. Tell me who Archie was shadowing Thursday for, and I'll tell you the murder.
Yeah, that's where you're wrong.
Whether or not I'm wrong isn't for you to judge. I'm a sworn officer of the law, Mr. Spade. My duty
I
is...
thought this was an informal talk.
It is.
Well, then
but
listen. The police think I'm mixed up in those, Kelly. Well, my best chance of clearing myself is to bring in the murderers all tied up. My only chance of ever tying them up is by keeping away from you and the cops, because you'd only gum up the work.
Now, just a minute.
And
Mr.
I don't
Spade,
want any more of these informal talks. If you want to see me again, pinch me or subpoena me or something, and I'll come down with my lawyer. See you at the inquest.
Hey. You.
Well, hiya, son. Didn't expect to see you until 5:25. I hope I haven't kept you waiting.
Keep on riding me, and they'll be picking iron out of your liver.
The cheaper the crook, the gaudier the patter. Gutman ready to talk?
He's waiting at the hotel. Get going.
Oh, they're on their way up now? Thank you. Oh, hello, operator. I don't want to receive any calls for about an hour. Yes, thank you.
Come on, get in, Sonny.
Mr. Spade.
Here, Gutman. Here's your gunman's six-shooter.
Well, what's this?
I took it away from him. I was afraid he might hurt himself.
I'll get you, Spade. Someday I'll let you have it right in the face.
Come on, get out of here.
Wait outside, Wilma. By gad, sir, you're a chap worth knowing. An amazing character. Here, I've mixed a drink for you.
Thanks.
Oh, by the way, I owe you an apology.
Oh, never mind that. Never mind. Let's talk about the bird.
All right, sir, let's. Mr. Spade, this is going to be the most astounding thing you ever heard.
Yeah?
What do you know, sir, about the Knights of Rome?
Nothing.
Well, they were crusaders, Mr. Spade. In 1539, these crusading knights persuaded the Emperor Charles V to give them the island of Malta.
Yeah?
He made but one condition. They were to pay him each year the tribute of a falcon in acknowledgement that Malta was still under Spain. You follow me?
Yeah, so far.
Good. Well, sir, the knights were profoundly grateful to the Emperor for his generosity toward them.
Uh-huh.
The very first year, they sent him not an insignificant live bird, but a glorious golden falcon, encrusted from head to foot with the finest jewels in their coffers. Well, sir, what do you think of that?
I don't know.
These are facts. Historical facts. They sent this jeweled bird to Charles, who was then in Spain. But it never reached Spain. The famous Admiral of Buccaneers took the Knight's galley and the bird. In 1713, it turned up in Sicily. In 1840, it appeared in Paris.
Oh.
It had, by that time, acquired a coat of black enamel so that it looked like nothing more than a fairly interesting black statuette. Then in 1922, a Greek dealer named Charaleos found it in an obscure shop. No thickness of enamel could conceal value from his eyes. Drink up, sir.
Yeah, go on.
Well, sir, to hold it safe, Charaleos re-enameled the bird.
Yeah?
I got wind of his find, but when I arrived in Athens, I discovered that the bird was gone. And Charaleos murdered. That was over 20 years ago. Well, sir, it took me 20 years to locate that bird, but I did. I traced it to the home of a Russian general, one Kemidov, in Istanbul. I sent some agents to get it. Well, sir, they got it. And I haven't got it.
Where's Kemidov?
Oh, Kemidov? He died.
Very suddenly.
Yes. His heart.
Was there a knife in it or a bullet?
Your glass, sir? Thank you. Now, before we start to talk prices, how soon are you willing to produce the falcon?
A couple of days.
Now, that's quite satisfactory. Well, sir, here's to a fair bargain. Drink up.
Well, now, what's your idea of a fair bargain?
$25,000 when you deliver the falcon to me, and another $25,000 later on, or I'll give you 1/4 of what I realize on the falcon. That would amount to a vastly greater sum.
Well, how much greater?
Who knows? Shall I say 100,000? That would be the minimum.
And what's the maximum?
What would you say to 250,000?
Well, then you think the dingus is worth $1 million, huh?
At least.
Well, that's a lot of dough.
A lot of dough.
Minimum, huh? And the maximum? And
What's the matter, Mr. Spade? Are you feeling ill?
I feel, what was in that drink?
The drink? Oh, I drugged it.
Yeah?
You'll be unconscious very shortly, Mr. Spade. You'd better lie down. I wouldn't want you to fall.
Well, that's very good. That's very...
Oh, dear. Oh, Joel, come in.
Is he unconscious?
Yes. You know, he's a very interesting person, Joel. The kind of a man I enjoy dealing with.
We pause now for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System. After a brief intermission, Edward G. Robinson, Gail Patrick, and Laird Kriegar will return in the third act of The Maltese Falcon. Now, here's a question for the women in our audience.
If you could make your stockings last far longer just by doing one very easy thing, would you do it? Of course you would. Then listen to this.
Recent tests show how to cut down stocking runs over 50%.
Yes, a famous laboratory, the United States Testing Company Incorporated, repeatedly washed rayon stockings different ways, then tested them on an almost human machine, a sort of mechanical leg that strains stockings the way you do in actual wear. Here's what they found. Washing with new, improved Lux cut down runs over 50%. Yes, the Lux stockings tested on the machine didn't go into runs nearly as easily as stockings washed with a strong soap or rubbed with cake soap. They lasted ever so much longer.
You see, new improved Lux saves elasticity, so stockings can take extra strain without breaking into runs so easily. And here's what girls find in actual experience.
Why, I got over twice the wear from my Lux stockings. Lux cut my runs almost in half.
That means a lot now that stockings are so precious. Better stick to Lux and avoid those enemies of stockings, cake soap rubbing and strong soaps. One special hint about rayons. They need 24 to 48 hours drying time. Get new improved Lux tomorrow. It's in the same familiar box, and your dealer has it right now. Now, Mr. DeMille returns to the microphone.
One of tonight's stars flew the Atlantic recently. We'll hear about it right after the play. Now the third act of The Maltese Falcon, starring Edward G. Robinson, Gail Patrick, and Laird Kriegar. When Sam Spade woke up, he was alone in the hotel room. Pale and still shaking from the effects of the drug, he's gone to his office, where Effie stares at him in alarm.
Mr. Spade, what happened to you?
I wouldn't know. I went visiting this afternoon with red knockout drops and came through just a little while ago, all spread out on a man's floor.
Who did it?
A fat man.
But why?
Didn't have a chance to ask. Evidently he wanted to get me out of the way for something.
But I don't get it. Hello? Yes? What? I can't hear you.
Who is it?
Give it to me again. Yes, I've got that. Captain who? Jacoby? Yes, Hello? Hello? She's gone.
Who's gone? Who?
It was the Shaughnessy girl. She wants you. Here's the address.
26 Ancho Street.
She's in some kind of trouble, Mr. Spade. She was telling me something about a captain, a ship captain named Jacoby. And then something happened to her.
What happened?
I don't know. Like she was being choked.
Listen, is that the outside door?
I'll see. Yes? What do you... Oh!
Mr. Spade.
Who is it, Effie?
I don't know. It's...
Mr. Spade.
Yes?
This package. For you. He told me. For you.
What's the matter with you?
For you.
Mr. Spade! Mr. Spade!
Shut up. Lock the door.
Yes. Yeah.
Give me the scissors from the desk, will you? I want to see what's in this package.
Here. Is he dead?
Got about 4 slugs in him, that's all.
Oh.
Come on, pull yourself together.
Well, I'm all right.
Well, now we'll see. Yeah, this is what I think it is. Yeah? Yeah.
What is it?
You've got it, Angel. We've got it. The Maltese Falcon.
The Falcon?
Look at it. The Blackbird. $1 million under a coat of enamel.
She sent him with it. That's what he tried to tell us. He must be Captain Jacoby.
Now, listen, I've got to get to her. As soon as I've gone, phone the police. Tell them how it happened. That Spaghetti brought a bundle. Here, get it straight now.
Yes.
I'll leave the bird in the safe. When I call you, bring it to that Ancho Street address. Got it?
Yeah.
And after you bring it to me, go out and call Dante. Tell him to come on the run with about 6 cops. No mistakes, Effie. I may need them.
Just keep your hands up, Mr. Spade, and come in. Wilma, shut the door. Well, sir, we're all here, waiting for you. Now, let's sit down, Mr. Spade, and be comfortable.
Sure.
Sam, I tried to call you. I wanted to tell you.
Oh, it's all right, honey. Take it easy.
But they've been holding me here all last night and today.
But you've come to no harm, Miss Shaughnessy, as yet. Oh, Mr. Spade, I believe you know Mr. Cairo.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
And Wilma, of course.
You carrying a rod? Let me see.
Now, get away. You're not going to frisk me.
Stand still.
Put your paw on me, and I'm going to make you use that gun. Ask your boss if he wants me shut up before we talk.
Sit down, Wilma. Mr. Spade, you're certainly a most headstrong individual. Well, let's talk.
Yeah. You ready to make the first payment and take the Falcon off my hands?
You're sure you have it?
Sam, have you?
I didn't this afternoon, but I have now.
Then I'm willing to pay. Joel, the money, please.
Yeah, wait. There's another thing to be taken care of first. We've got to have a fall guy.
I beg your pardon?
Well, the police have got to have a victim. Somebody they can stick for those 3 murders.
2. Only 2 murders, Mr. Spade. Thursby undoubtedly killed your partner.
All right, 2. The point is, I've got to come through with somebody, a victim, when the time comes. If I don't, I'll be it.
And whom do you recommend as this victim?
Oh, well, I'm not fussy. How about giving him Wilma here? He'll do.
Why, you...
Get away, punk.
By gad, Mr. Spade, you are a character.
That's our best bet. If we turn him over, the cops will be happy. We'll be free as the air.
Well, what do you think of this, Wilma? Mighty funny. Hmm?
Yeah. Mighty funny.
Well, anyway, he killed Thursby, didn't he? He's made to order for the part.
Get up on your feet.
Go away, punk.
I've taken all the riding for you. I'm going to take it up and shoot it out.
Calm yourself, Wilma. Mr. Spade, your plan is not at all practical. Let's not say anything more about it.
All right, I've got another suggestion. Want to hear it?
Most assuredly.
I'll give them Joel Cairo.
Suppose we give them you, Mr. Spade, or Miss Shaughnessy. How about that?
Now, look, you people want the Falcon. I've got it, and the fall guy is part of the prize. As for Miss Shaughnessy, well, if you think she can be rigged for the part, I'm perfectly willing to discuss it with you.
Sam,
What's the matter?
you don't mean it. You couldn't.
No, because I don't think the cops would be happy, Angel. Well, personally, I see only one guy who's really right. That's Wilma.
I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
Stop it! Stop it! Don't go here!
No, let him go.
I told him to lay off me. I warned him.
I hated to do that, but the punk had it coming to him. There's your fall guy, Mr. Gutman. What do you say?
I don't like it, sir.
Well, either you'll say yes right now, or I'll turn the Falcon and the whole lot of you in.
All right. You can have Wilma. Carry him inside, Joe.
My secretary left an hour ago with the Falcon. She ought to be here in a few minutes. What about the money, Gutman?
In a few minutes. When she gets here.
Good enough. Now, let's get the details, Dick. Now, why did Wilma kill Thursby, and why and where did he shoot Captain Jacoby?
Well, I shall be candid with you, sir. Thursby was Miss Shaughnessy's ally. We believed that disposing of him would frighten Miss Shaughnessy into patching up her differences with us.
That sounds all right. Now, Jacoby.
Captain Jacoby's death was entirely Miss Shaughnessy's fault.
That's a lie.
Well, tell me what happened.
Cairo saw in the newspaper that Jacoby's ship was arriving. He remembered that Jacoby and Miss Shaughnessy had been seen together in Hong Kong. Well, sir, he put two and two together and guessed the truth. She had given the bird to Jacoby to bring here.
Yes, and at that juncture, you decided to slip me the Mickey, huh?
Well, I'm sorry there was no place for you in our plans, Mr. Spade. Mr. Cairo and Wilmer and I went to the boat to call on Captain Jacoby and Miss Shaughnessy. We persuaded Miss Shaughnessy to come to terms, or so we thought. Well, sir, we mere men should have known better. En route to my hotel, Captain Jacoby and the Falcon slipped completely through our fingers. Except that Wilmer put a few bullets in him while he was running away. Oh, by the way, you said Jacoby died?
Yes, but not until after he brought me the Falcon.
Ah. Well, there's a bright side to everything, isn't there?
I'll get it. It's my secretary.
So you don't mind if I go to the door with you?
Oh, all right. Come on.
Mr. Spade.
Well, thanks a lot, Effie.
I wrapped it up again. Is there anything else?
No, thanks. Bye, Effie.
Goodbye, Mr. Spade.
Let me have it, Mr. Spade.
Easy.
Let me see it quickly.
Here, I guess the pleasure ought to be Mr. Gutman.
After 20 years. 20 years. Yes, there it is. There you are, beauty.
Is it the Falcon, the original?
We will make sure. Your knife, Joe.
Here.
There you go. Just a tiny cut in the enamel, and underneath we find...
Gutman, what's the matter?
It's a fake! It's lead! It's a fake!
But it can't be.
All right, Shaughnessy, you've had your little joke. Now tell us about it.
But no, Sam, no. That's the one I got from Kemidorf, I swear.
You bungled it, Gutman. You and your stupid attempt to buy it. Kemidorf caught on how valuable it was. He put a fake in its place.
Yes, that is Kemidorf's hand. There's no doubt of it. Well, Joe, what do you suggest? Shall we stand here and shed tears and call each other names? Or shall we go to Istanbul?
Istanbul? You are still going to look for the Falcon?
For 20 years I have wanted that little item and have been trying to get it. I'll go on trying.
Very well. I'll go with you.
Get Wilmer. We'll start tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Wilmer, why, he's gone.
What?
The window is open. He's gone.
Swell lot of thieves.
We have little enough to boast about, sir. But the world hasn't come to an end just because we've run into a little setback. I'm sorry about your money, Mr. Spade, but of course you didn't earn it.
Well, I held up my end. You got your Falcon. Your hard luck, not mine, that it wasn't what you wanted.
My hat, Joe.
Now, wait a minute.
Mr. Spade, it will do you no good to argue. I haven't the money with me anyhow.
Well, I had an idea that was it.
Now, sir, we'll say goodbye to you. And since the shortest farewells are the best, adieu. And to you, Miss Shaughnessy, I leave the lead Falcon as a little memento. Adieu.
Sam, what are you going to do?
Nothing.
But those murders, you were mixed up in them. You said yourself the police needed a victim. Call them now. Tell them about Gutman.
I don't have to call him. Gutman will be nailed before he goes blocked. But when he's nailed, he'll talk about you. Now, we're sitting on dynamite. We've only got a couple of minutes to get all set for the cops. Now, give me all of it fast. Talk.
Well, where shall I begin?
Well, the day you first came to my office, why did you want Thursby shadowed?
I told you, Sam. I suspected him of betraying me, and I wanted to find out.
Now, that's a lie. You had Thursby hooked, and you knew it. You wanted to get him out of the way before Jacoby came with a bird. Isn't that so?
Yes.
What was your scheme?
Well, I thought that if he saw someone following him, he might be frightened into going away.
Well, then you must have told Thursby that Archer was following him.
Yes, I told him. But please believe me, Sam. I wouldn't have told him if I'd thought Thursby would kill him.
Well, if you thought he wouldn't kill Archer, you were right, Angel.
Didn't you?
No. Archer had been a cop too long to be caught like that, up a blind alley with his gun tucked away in his hip and his overcoat buttoned. But he would have gone up there with you, Angel. He was just dumb enough for that.
Sam.
And then you could have stood as close to him as you liked in the dark and put a hole through him with a gun you'd gotten from Thursby that night.
Don't talk to me like that, Sam. You know I didn't.
Oh, shut up. This isn't the spot for the schoolgirl act. Why did you shoot him?
Oh, I didn't mean to at first. I didn't really, but when I saw that Thursby couldn't be frightened, Oh, Sam, darling.
Go on. When you found that Thursby didn't mean to tackle Archie, you borrowed the gun and did it yourself, right?
Yes.
You didn't know then that Gutman was here hunting for you until you heard Thursby had been shot. And then you knew you needed another protector, so you came back to me.
Yes, but Sam, it wasn't only that. I would have come back to you sooner or later. From the very first minute I saw you, I knew that
Oh, you angel. Well, if you get a good break, you'll be out of San Quentin in 20 years, and you can come back to me then.
What? Oh, no, you're not going to...
I'm going to send you over.
Oh, no, don't, Sam. Don't say that.
You're taking the fall, darling.
You're doing this to me. Don't you understand, Sam? I'm in love with you.
That's great.
But you can't. You can't.
Yes, I can. You killed a man, darling, remember?
You know deep down in your heart, you know that in spite of anything I've done, I love you.
I don't care who loves who. I'm not going to play the sucker. I won't walk in Thursby's, and I don't know how many others' footsteps. You killed Miles, and you're going over for it.
Sam.
That's the cops.
Don't let them in, please.
Sit tight, honey.
Sam.
Hello, Spade.
Come in. You get the fat boy?
We got them. The kid, too.
Swell. Here's another one for you. She killed Miles.
Can you prove it?
Can I, Miss Shaughnessy? Can I prove it? Go on, tell them.
Yes.
All right, come on.
So long, Miss Shaughnessy.
This doesn't mean anything to you, does it?
Maybe. But you're going anyway. The chances are you'll get off for 20 years. If you do, I'll wait for you. And if they hang you, Angel, I'll always remember you.
Our stars will return to the microphone in just a moment. But now, listen a minute. Ammunition for attack. Shells for defense against the enemy. Our boys must have these things to win the war. And you may be unknowingly throwing away material needed to help them win. Waste fats and greases from your kitchen contain glycerin, one of the things that goes into the making of explosives. No amount is too small to save. Think of it this way. One man doesn't make an army, yet together, millions of individual Americans make up the finest army in the world. If every American housewife turns in 1 pound of waste household fats a month, together, that will make 540 million pounds of smokeless powder a year. Now, here's what our government asks us to do. Strain waste fats and greases into a can. Any clean, smooth-edged can. Don't use glass or paper containers because they break or leak. The cans you use will be salvaged later. Keep the can in a cool place, and when it's full, take it to your local meat dealer. He'll pay you cash for each pound of fat. Try to do this early in the week when he's not so busy as weekends. Remember, only waste fats and oils are wanted, not anything you can use or reuse yourself. Every bit is precious. Save it carefully. Within 21 days of the time you turn it in to your butcher, it will be on its way to send your message to the Axis. Now, here's Mr. DeMille.
Next week's play asks a very vital question. So vital, I'm taking it to the man on the street for an answer before I introduce our stars. The question, are husbands necessary? Now, here's a man who's just come in from the street. What do you think, sir? Are husbands necessary?
My wife says yes. My draft board says no. Me, I just do what they tell me.
Now let's see what this young lady has to say. In your opinion, miss, are husbands necessary?
Are you kidding?
Well, that's the way it goes. Nobody agrees. But we'll go into that matter later, because the big news has to do with George Burns and Gracie Allen. Tonight, the Maltese Falcon had its share of thrills. But in recent weeks, Edward G. Robinson has been on the road to adventure in real life. We'll get the inside story now, as he and Gail Patrick and Laird Krieger come back for a curtain call.
It must have been pretty exciting crossing the Atlantic in wartime, Eddie.
Well, we went over by plane, Gail, and as we approached the other side, it was nip and tuck there for a few minutes. I wasn't sure whether I'd make it or not.
Nazi planes go after you?
No, we were playing bridge, and I made the bid doubled and redoubled.
Did you fly back too, Eddie?
I came back on a ship, Laird. I was sure I'd get a chance to see a submarine, but nothing happened.
The word must have gone out that Little Caesar was aboard.
Now, don't kid about that, C.B. Purely because of Little Caesar, I received a great distinction. fellows made me an honorary member of the gun crew.
So seriously, Eddie, in entertaining our soldiers in England, how did you find them? Are they cheerful?
Cheerful and determined, C.B. As for the English people, nothing seems to bother them. They've had rationing so long, it isn't the topic of conversation now. That great clock, Big Ben, was symbolic of the whole country to me. Every time it strikes, it seems to be saying, it's later than you think, Adolf Hitler.
I suppose you did some broadcasting yourself while you were there, Eddie.
Well, one afternoon I broadcast 6 messages to the continent in French, Spanish, Romanian, German, Danish, and Italian.
What, no Greek?
Well, I'm working on Russian at the moment, Gail. I want to be able to say thank you to all the Russians I meet from now on.
You've had many successes on the screen, but in years to come, I think you'll value most the success you achieved in this job for your country.
Thank you, C.B. What are you doing here next week?
Well, that's when the big question comes up again, Eddie. Because next week, our play is the Paramount comedy hit, Our Husbands Necessary. And in it, we'll present those eminent thespians, George Burns and Gracie Allen. In the play, George works in a bank and Gracie is secretly trying to help his career. So tune in next Monday night and get Gracie Allen's answer to that burning question, are husbands necessary?
Oh, sounds like a lot of fun, C.B. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. And don't miss George and Gracie. Our sponsors, the makers of Lux Flakes, join me in inviting you to be with us again next Monday night when the Lux Radio Theater presents George Burns and Gracie Allen in Are Husbands Necessary? This is Cecil B. DeMille saying good night to you from Hollywood.
Edward G. Robinson will soon be seen in the Columbia picture Destroyer. Gail Patrick has starred in the Republic production Hit Parade of 1943. And Laird Kriegar's next picture is the 20th Century Fox Technicolor production Hello, Frisco, Hello. Heard in tonight's play were Charlie Lung as Cairo, Dee Benaderet as Effie, Eddie Marr as Wilmer, and Warren Ash, Charles Seal, Leo Cleary, Fred Mackay, and Norman Field. Our music was directed by Louis Silvers. And this is your announcer, John M. Kennedy, reminding you to tune in next Monday night to hear George Burns and Gracie Allen in Our Husbands Necessary.
Here's what Betty said.
Hasn't Jane got a lot of pep and charm?
But here's what Betty thought.
That woman gets in my hair. Where does she get all that energy?
Do you envy others because they have more pep than you? Maybe your trouble is plain vitamin deficiency. Vims may help you feel better than you ever thought you could. Vims have the 6-vitamin formula doctors endorse. 3 vital minerals also. Get that Vims feeling. It's VI for vitamins, double MS for minerals. Vims. This is the Columbia Broadcasting.
The hair-raising adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair.
Sam Spade, Detective Agency.
It's me, Effie.
Oh, Sam, I've been worried about you. Sid Weiss was just on the phone, and he says digging up a corpse without a permit is against the law.
It's all right, Effie. I just dug him up to say hello and put him back again.
Oh, Sam.
I'll be down in a couple of minutes to dictate my report, sweetheart. If I get lost on the way, you'll find me in City Hospital, the Psycho ward, 3rd straitjacket from the left.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented each week by Wild Root Cream Oil, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that will put your hair back in place again, grooming it neatly, naturally, the way you want it. Fellows, if a girl can spend half an hour under a hot dryer in a beauty parlor to look her best for you, certainly you can spend half a minute sprucing up with Wild Root Cream Oil hair tonic to look your best for her. Now, that's all it takes, and Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, the way girls like to see it. Besides, it relieves dryness and removes loose dandruff. There's not a drop of alcohol in Wild Root Cream Oil. It contains lanolin. So get the big economy-size bottle at your drug or toilet goods counter. And now, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
August 2nd, 1946. To Mrs. Gregory Denov. Subject, death of Dr. Denov. I was sitting in my office with nothing to think about except a horse named Corkscrew Jr. My secretary, Effie Perrine, came in and said there was someone outside. I didn't look up from the dope sheet, so she said it again.
Someone outside, Sam.
What's he look like?
Blue double-breasted custom-made suit, Count of Mara tie, hand-tailored shirt, English shoes, hand-trimmed Van Dyke.
Get me a blank check and send him in.
Okay, Sam. Please come in. Mr. Spade will see you now, sir.
Thank you. You are Mr. Spade, Sam Spade.
What can I do for you?
I'm Dr. Gregory Denov, a psychoanalyst. I need your help.
Lie down, doctor, and tell me all about it.
I see you might also be noted for your sense of humor as well as your discretion.
Who told you I was discreet?
A man named Nicolaitis.
Well, you tell Nicolaitis I think he's cute, too. What else does he say about me?
That I can trust you with $10,000.
Oh. Is this Mr. Nicolaitis one of your patients?
No, he isn't. As a matter of fact, he's gotten possession of some private records of mine. Well, it's rather involved.
Nicolaitis is shaking you down, and he picked me as the middleman. Is that it?
This is not an ordinary case of blackmail.
Blackmail is blackmail, even if you do it in Technicolor.
Well, as you may know, a psychoanalyst keeps a faithful transcript, a detailed record of everything a patient says during consultation, no matter how intimate or shocking.
Yeah?
This man, Nicolaitis, has managed to gain possession of a copy of one of these case histories. The patient is a very celebrated person, and should this material be divulged, it may have very serious consequences of both my patient and for me.
Doctor, your best bet's the San Francisco Police Department.
No, that's out of the question.
Then I'm afraid I can't help you.
Why not? Nicolaitis said...
I'm a private detective. When I take on a client, I take on his troubles. My job is to protect him, not to stand by and see him milked. If you want to hire me on that basis, I'll listen.
Oh, I'm so tired. I must trust somebody. What can you do for me, Mr. Spade?
Write me out a check for $1,000. Got a pen? Yeah.
All right.
You see, Nicolaitis figures that if I'm getting a cut, I'll have to keep my mouth shut. I'll spend it all the same.
Here you are.
Thanks. Now, what was the last thing Nicolaitis told you?
That he would pick up the $10,000 here and deliver to you this file in question.
Can you reach him?
Yes.
Call him. Tell him you've seen me. Tell him I won't do that kind of business in my office. Tell him to come to your house. I'll be there.
What if he refuses?
He won't. Tell him I have the whole 10,000.
What time?
How about in an hour?
No, I'm sorry. We'll have to make it around 3 or... Oh, goodness, I'm late now. I really...
That's a beautiful watch, Mr. Denov.
Yes.
Foreign?
Yes.
Can I see it?
My watch? Why, really, Mr. Spade, I'm very late. I have so many things to do, and I have to be at the Majestic Theater well before the matinee starts at 2:30.
Are you going to see me at 3 o'clock if you're going to the theater?
Oh, I'm not going to stay for the performance. Well, Mr. Spade, till 3 o'clock then. Oh, my office is in my apartment. The address is here on my card. It's the penthouse.
Penthouse, huh? Okay, doctor, I'll come formal. I'll wear the top to my bathing suit. I left my office around 2:30 and started walking up Nob Hill. The Versailles Apartments, where Denov's place was, took up the whole 300th block, so I didn't have any trouble finding it. I stopped across the street for a minute to get my breath after the uphill climb, mopped my face, and started across. Just as I got to the middle of the street... The crowd was packed in so close around I couldn't see who'd done the Brody, but I had a pretty good idea. The cops had the sidewalk roped off and guards posted at the building entrance. It took me maybe 20 minutes to elbow my way through and show my credentials. Sergeant Levine had the front door, so they let me in. Lieutenant Dundee of Homicide met me at the door of the penthouse.
Hiya, Sam. What do you want?
I want to see Dr. Denov.
The doctor's dead.
Dead?
Yeah.
He's my client. They can't do this to me. How?
Hit a Brody out the window. What are you here for?
To see his wife. Okay with you?
Why not? She's inside.
Thanks.
Denov, please. With all due respect for your grief, I must have the keys to the cabinet where Gregory kept his confidential files. You realize that you wished me to take charge of his patients and that I am responsible. All this police and so on. Oh, we must get those files out of here as soon as possible. Yes?
My name is Spade.
I am Dr. Zoya. I was poor Dr. Denov's oldest friend. If there's anything
I'd like to see you, Mrs. Denov, alone.
But you police have already asked us so many questions. You see, she's not in the...
I'm not with the police. I'm a private detective. I was working for Dr. Denov.
A private detective?
He was in trouble, you see. You see, Dr. Sawyer, the police won't believe me. Mr. Spade, you'll tell them. You'll tell them he didn't commit suicide.
Well, Mrs. Denov, I guess that takes care of everything here. It's clearly suicide.
Oh, idiot. Blind, stupid idiot. Suicide. My husband, he treated suicide. He would never...
No, please. It will be all right, my dear. I'm sorry. She's hysterical.
Yeah.
If I had the time, I would...
Tell them.
Please, Mrs. Denov. The undertaker has been arranged for a burial at 7 o'clock, Base Israel Cemetery. Now, please, the key to Gregory's file.
Here, take it and go. Go ahead, all of you.
Okay, we'll call you later.
No, I'm so sorry, gentlemen. This hysteria is simply traumatic condition. If I only had the time.
Who can I turn to? Who will help me? You think it's pleasant? You think my husband would rest if they said I committed suicide? What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? Oh,
Dr. Zoya didn't have the time, neither have I. You think it's murder? Who do you think killed your husband?
name someone? That's a very serious charge, Mr. Spade.
Goodbye, Mrs. Denhoff.
Constance Brent.
You mean Constance Brent, the actress?
Yes. She was his last patient this morning. She had threatened to kill him before.
How do you know?
My husband said so.
Do you?
And he'd written it down on his notes on her case. Once before, she'd almost pushed him from that same window.
How about your husband and Miss Brent?
Oh, I knew she was falling in love with my husband. That always happens. They call it a transference. But in this
Your
case...
husband told me Miss Brent was acting in a play this afternoon over at the Majestic.
Yes, Midsummer Night's Dream. But she was here. I know she was here. Miss Ray, the receptionist, was coming back from lunch when she heard voices arguing inside. And she was sure it was Miss Brent's voice.
Show me the doctor's case history on Miss Brent.
I can't. It's missing. As soon as it happened, I went to the files. I meant to show it to the police.
Who could have taken it?
Constance Brent was the last one in that room before he died.
Yeah. When did you see Nicolaitis last?
Nick who?
Skip it.
But where can I reach you in case...
For the next couple of hours, I'll be at the Majestic Theater. I want to see how good an actress this Constance Brent is.
So, good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore a land.
Yes? Miss Constance Brent's dressing room? What do you want? I want to talk to Miss Brent.
Well, you can talk to me. I'm her husband.
So you're Mr. Brent.
I'm Jonathan Wallace. She's Mrs. Wallace. Now, what do you want with my wife?
I've come to tell her that Dr. Denov is dead.
Are you sure?
You tried falling from a 12th floor window sometime.
Well, that's the best news I've heard this year. But I'm afraid it will be a shock for Constance.
Maybe, maybe not. She was the last person to see him alive, as far as anybody can make out.
Are you from the police?
No, I'm from the insurance company. Claims investigator.
What do you want to see Constance for? The policy wasn't made out to her, was it?
No, made out to his widow. But she can't collect. Police say it was suicide.
That settles it. This is the last time I play pretend. Stand around while Puck talks his head off. Who is this person?
Darling, I'm afraid this is going to be a shock. This man is from an insurance company. Dr. Denov is dead.
Oh, what a pity. What happened?
The police say he jumped. His wife says he was pushed. She also says that you, Miss Brent, might have been the pusher.
Oh, now really, it's too absurd. It sounds like a wife.
What time did your play start this afternoon, Miss Brent?
Nothing later 2:30, always. Always.
And the late lamented Dr. Denov jumped at 3 o'clock.
I didn't say he did. Doesn't this news, shock you?
But of course. Do you think good psychoanalysts are easy to find?
Looks like your next doctor will have to start from scratch. Your case history seems to be missing from Dr. Denov's files.
Missing?
No. What is it?
Has a man named Nicolaitis been in touch with you?
I've never heard of him.
Chances are you will.
Does he have Dr. Denov's notes on my case?
Could be.
This is frightful.
Hot reading, huh?
You seem to know this person, Nicolaitis.
Get that file for me, and I'll pay you well for it.
Just a minute, my lovely Titania. We don't know who this man really is. He might even be Nicolaitis himself. Let me see your company credentials.
Now, what do you know? Somebody picked my pocket. My wallet's gone.
I thought so. All right, you tell me who you are. I'll call the police.
Oh, no, Jonathan, no police.
Let's get off the merry-go-round. My name is Spade. You'll find me in the phone book under S. My office is open until 6 o'clock. And if a man answers, don't hang up. It'll be me. Hello, Effie. You found a Nicolaitis yet?
Not one. I even tried spelling it backwards.
Nobody ever heard of a man named Nicolaitis. Beginning to think there ain't no such person.
Pardon me, do I hear my name mentioned? I'm Nicolaitis.
Sam, I still think you're right.
Come all the way in, Mr. Nicolaitis. Sit down.
Thank you.
If you need me, Sam, just scream.
What can I do for you?
Oh, I've come for my money.
What money?
Oh, the $10,000. You remember the $10,000?
Refresh my memory.
Oh, Dr. Denhoff, the gentleman who visited you this morning?
Oh, that $10,000.
Oh, you see, you remember now.
Yeah, it all comes back to me now. You were supposed to deliver something for the money.
Since Dr. Denhoff is dead, that is no longer important. You will give me the money, please, and I will not disturb your afternoon any further.
Suppose I refuse?
Oh, that would grieve me. In my grief, there's no telling what I might do.
Dr. Denhoff's dead. There's nothing more you can do to hurt him.
Oh, never would I attempt to hurt poor Dr. Denhoff, but in my sorrow, it would be so great if I should be forced to hurt the woman he lost. After all, as Titania says, these are the forgeries of jealousy.
Titania, huh? Ah, yes. Midsummer Night's Dream. Act 1, Scene 18. I'm a little rusty on my Shakespeare.
Oh, you are indeed, Mr. Spade. Titania doesn't appear until well into Act 2.
She doesn't, huh? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I guess she isn't on for 40 minutes or so.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Spade, but I didn't come here to discuss drama.
What else have you got to discuss? When Dr. Denhoff died, your market died with him.
That is a very unprogressive view, Mr. Spade. There's always a gentleman named Jonathan Warren.
Why, you fiend. You don't mean you'd sell to both of us?
Mr. Spade, how can you have such a low opinion of me? I will prove my integrity. I will give you the material. You give me the money.
Hand it over.
In the Levant, Mr. Spade, we have a saying. He who goes too close to the bear soon loses his beard. I have left my beard at home.
Okay, I'll meet you anywhere you say, anytime you say.
Excellent. At 7 in your apartment, huh?
Won't that be walking into the bear's cave?
In the Levant, Mr. Spade, we have a saying. Private dicks do not kill people in their own apartment.
It was then 6 p.m. I called Effie for messages. She told me that you had been phoning frantically, Mrs. Denhoff. I still had maybe 30 minutes before Nicolaitis was due at my apartment, so I breezed on up to your place on the hill. We had a very interesting chat. Remember, Mrs. Denhoff? Looking back on it, that was probably the most interesting conversation we had. Funny, I can't remember much of anything you said, but it was so cozy there in your place. And what with your clock being about 20 minutes slow, it must have been something like 7:30 before I left you. I grabbed a cab and told the hacky to step on it. I hoped Nicolaitis was still waiting at my apartment. He was. Mr. Nicolaitis, I'm sorry to be late. He was lying on my bathroom floor. The little guy was looking just about as natty as when he'd been in my office, except that the beautiful silk scarf he'd been wearing was twisted into a tight noose around his neck. Mr. Nicolaitis was a very dead blackmailer. The
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the fourth in a new series of programs bringing to the air for the first time the adventures of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Men, at the racetrack, the man who has something better than a mere hunch is said to have it straight from the horse. Of course, that's a humorous expression, but it shows how to get facts. Go straight to the real source of information. And that's why we went straight to hundreds of men in metropolitan New York to find out what men really want in a hair tonic. And their answers show that Wild Root Cream Oil has all 5 advantages chosen by this impartial consumer jury of men. 1, Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, never leaves it sticky or greasy. 2, Wild Root Cream Oil relieves annoying dryness. 3, it removes loose dandruff. 4, it's non-alcoholic. And 5, it contains soothing lanolin. Remember, no other leading hair tonic gives you all 5 of these important advantages. Is it any wonder that 4 out of 5 users in a nationwide test preferred Wild Root Cream Oil to all other hair tonics they'd tried? So next time you visit your barber, ask for Wild Root Cream Oil and get the big economy-size bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil at your drug or toilet goods counter. And now back to Sam and Psyche. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
His eyes were open, and he seemed to be looking right at me as I bent over him. The finger marks in his throat were too blotchy to be of any use. Pretty soon, Lieutenant Dundee and Sergeant Polhouse came in and walked over behind me. We all stood there for a second, and then Polhouse bent down and closed those eyes.
You know him, Sam?
His name is Nicolaitis. That's all I know about him.
What did he come here to your place for?
I don't know.
You invited him?
I wouldn't have been surprised to find him here, but not like this. You boys got a smear on him yet?
Sure. He's an old customer of mine. Runs a photo lab. Photostats, microfilm.
Microfilm. Nobody makes any sense. They're all screwballs, psychos, neurotics. What am I doing in the middle of this anyway?
Sam, don't scream at us. We're just doing a job.
Oh, I'm sorry, boys. Dr. Denover's my client.
Mental expert. That Denov probably had a screw loose somewhere and needed a psychoanalyst himself. Say, maybe he was...
Yeah. Hey, look, Dundee. I'm going out of here now. Do I call Sid Weiss and we go through all that again, or are you going to let me walk?
Why, Sam, you can go. I know where you sleep. I'll wake you when I'm ready for you.
Well, Mr. Spade?
I want some answers, Dr. Zoya, and you're the guy who can give them to me.
I'm listening. Just let the questions flow into your mind and do not try to repress any of them. Speak instantly, whatever...
Okay, question number 1, without thinking. Do you think Dr. Denov was a suicide?
Well, I had not seen Dr. Denov for many years. He had been my student in Vienna. I was his analyst, in fact.
That's all very interesting, Doctor, but my question...
Yes. Did poor Dr. Denov commit suicide? I have reviewed all the material, manifest and hypothetical, and I came to the conclusion, no, it was quite impossible. You see, these paranoid
Okay, question number 2. Was Dr. Denov in love with Constance Brent?
I suppose I can now answer that question. When I arrived in San Francisco, I found him in great distress. He told me he feared he was losing his objectivity towards this patient.
In other words, he was in love with her?
Yes.
You think she might have murdered him?
All psychoanalytical subjects develop aggressive feelings toward the doctor. Nearly all of my patients have threatened me at one time or another.
You don't say. Tell me, Dr. Zoya, you know anything about Jonathan Wallace, Miss Brent's husband?
A violent type, almost psychotic.
Yeah? How about you, Dr. Zoya? Could you have done it?
That is a most interesting question, Mr. Spade. When I arrived here from Vienna without funds, dependent on the kindness of my former students, I must confess that I felt a certain antagonism. It disturbed me to realize that a man of my standing in the profession should be dependent on the goodwill of a younger and, I sincerely believe, less gifted man. However, I overcame this, and I didn't kill him.
Yeah. Well, Doctor, thanks a lot.
Oh, people. Truly a life study. There is no accounting. For instance, Dr. Denoff. He came to me only this afternoon with the strangest request.
Yeah?
He gave me the gold watch which I had presented to him many years ago upon his graduation in Vienna. He had a patient waiting, and so had not much time to explain.
Where is this watch?
Please, I'm coming to that. He asked me to promise that I would have the watch buried with him if something should happen. That has been done.
But Dr. Denoff just died at 3 o'clock.
It is a Mosaic law that the deceased be buried before sundown.
Thanks, Doctor. Thanks a lot.
I hope I've been of some help.
Doctor, you'll never know how much you've helped me.
Who is it?
Spade.
Oh, what's happened?
I think I got the answers, Mrs. Denoff. That file on Constance Brent. Your husband knew that you'd been going through it.
Mr. Spade.
Shut up and listen to me. He took it out of the files, had it microfilmed for his own private records, and destroyed the original.
Really?
The man who did the microfilming was Nicolaitis. He delivered one print to your husband and kept another for himself. He was murdered in my apartment for the copy he used to shake down your husband. The killer now has that copy, if it hasn't already been destroyed. But we can still put our hands on the first strip of microfilm, which you delivered to your husband.
This is astonishing. How?
It's in the gold watch, which was buried with him.
Oh, the watch that Dr. Zay...
That's right. Denoff made up his mind that whatever he knew about Constance Brent was going to go to the grave with him. What are you doing tonight?
Well, nothing.
And we got a date, sweetheart, you and I. I'll be back toward the wee hours. All paths lead to the grave. Ophelia, Act 6.
Gregory's grave? But shouldn't we get a court order and have it done properly?
The courts don't open until 10 in the morning, sweetheart, and Lieutenant Dundee's going to start asking me some questions about that stiff in my apartment before then. You see, baby, I can't wait.
We shouldn't be doing this.
If I'm wrong this time, it won't be wasted effort. I'll crawl into the grave myself and pull it in after. Here. I struck it. Give me that crowbar, Mrs. Denoff, quick.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Put that flashlight in here, sweetheart. You look the other way. Yeah, here it is. Look.
What, Mr. Speed? What have you got?
The watch. Here, put the flash on it while I open it.
Here's my nail file. Pry off the back.
Thanks. That does it. Here's the film.
All right, Mr. Spade. Give me that film.
Well, if it isn't the second gravedigger from Hamlet, Mr. Constance Brent.
Stop clowning and hand it up to me.
You better do as he says, Mr. Spade. We've both got guns.
I was expecting that. Took you a long time to get here, Mr. Wallace. How did dear Constance make out as Lady Macbeth?
Just give me that film.
Stop being an idiot, Wallace. The cemetery is crawling with cops. Put that gun away before you drop it and break your foot.
Come up out of that grave, Spade, or you'll stay there forever.
Okay, Dundee.
All right. Get those hands up, everybody.
Go ahead, Dundee. Make the pinch.
Okay. Sam Spade, I arrest you for body snatching, violation of graves under the Civil Code number...
No, you fool. You're supposed to arrest Mrs. Gregory Denoff and Jonathan Wallace for the murder of Gregory Denoff and Pericles Nicolaitis.
But I... Oh, yeah.
No, you don't. Smart of you, Mrs. Denoff, to make me late for my appointment with Nicolaitis. You did that so that Wallace could nail him in my apartment for the microfilm. You thought you could use that film to pin Denoff's murder on Constance Brent. But after your late husband caught you tampering with his files, he added a few well-chosen words to it so that the film put the finger on you and your boyfriend, Mr. Wallace, in case anything happened to the doctor. So Wallace had to kill Nicolaitis. You weren't smart to push your husband out the window. That looked like suicide. You might have gotten away with it, Mrs. Denov, if you'd bashed your husband's head in with a bottle. That reminds me, Effie, pour me a drink.
Is that all?
Sign it, put a special delivery on it, and send it care of the matron to Hatchepee Prison. Go on, have one yourself.
Oh, thank you. Here's how.
You'll get used to it.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Wild Root Cream Oil presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, produced and directed by William Spear. Then, on these warm August days, the sun beats down on your hair, may leave it looking dry and brittle. That's why, now especially, you need Wild Root Cream Oil. This grand non-alcoholic hair tonic has just what it takes for summer grooming. It contains lanolin, the soothing oil that's so much like the oil of your skin. Wild Root Cream Oil keeps your hair neatly in place, gives it the handsome, successful look that helps you get ahead on the job. And Wild Root Cream Oil removes loose, ugly dandruff and actually relieves annoying dryness. So tonight, take the famous FM test. Check your scalp. Signs of dryness or loose dandruff tell you need Wild Root Cream Oil right away. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Fred Hessler was Dr. Zoya. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Don't forget, next Friday, the three masters of the art of hair-raising, Dashiell Hammett, William Spear, and Wild Root Cream Oil, join forces to bring you another hair-raising adventure with Sam Spade. Smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, for quick, good grooming and to relieve dryness between permanents. Mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Dick Joy speaking.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Suspense. Tonight, Roma Wines bring you Robert Taylor in The House in Cypress Canyon. A suspense play produced, edited, and directed for Roma Wines by William Spear. Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills, is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those better-tasting California wines enjoyed by more Americans than any other wine. Yes, right now, a glassful would be very pleasant, as Roma Wines bring you Robert Taylor in a remarkable tale of suspense.
Merry Christmas, Jerry. How's the real estate business?
Kind of early with your greeting, aren't you, Sam?
Well, I got to get them in sometime. I may not see you again until next Christmas.
If this real estate racket gets any crazy, I'll be dead by next Christmas. I'm glad you could get up here, though, Sam.
What's on your mind, Jerry?
You'll probably shoot me when you hear it, Sam, because I'm probably nuts. But doggone it, you're a detective and you're my pal, and I just had to tell somebody.
Oh, you sound like it's serious.
That's just it. I don't know what it is, Sam, but... Now, listen, you know we're agents for a group of houses up in Cypress Canyon. Mm-hmm. Those places that were started before the war and never got finished.
Oh, yeah.
All they got in were the foundations, just concrete and a couple of beams. Well, they've been finished now. In fact, I'm putting up for rent on the last of them today.
Well, what do you want? Police protection from the mob?
Listen, Sam, this house that I'm talking about, it's got a number now, 2256. But before, when the men went back to work on it about 3 months ago, well, they just started when the foreman on the job brought me a shoebox that he'd found up on a beam. And this box had a manuscript in it, a story kind of, all written out.
Yeah.
Well, he gave me the thing. I read it. I didn't think much about it. I put it in my desk. But the other day, and I happened to drive by there, I saw the number on the house and what the house looked like. I thought of this manuscript. Well, I don't like it. That's all. There's something funny about it.
What's funny about it?
Well, mind you, this thing was found in an unfinished house in Cypress Canyon. House was only just started building.
All right.
Well, listen, Sam, I want to read it to you if you've got the time, and you'll see what I mean.
All right, shoot.
Well, here's how it begins. To whom it may concern, my reasons for setting down on paper what follows here will be abundantly clear
to anyone into whose possession it may fall. First, let me say that
I'm a very ordinary person. My name is James A. Woods. I'm 35 years old. By profession, a chemical engineer. My wife, Ellen, was a school teacher when I met and married her in Indiana 7 years ago. There's nothing in the past life of either one of us to suggest remotely any cause or reason for the dreadful thing that has invaded our lives. Our married life has been in no way different from that of millions of other average, reasonably happy, and congenial families. 3 months ago, I was ordered by my firm to take charge of a rather minor project in Los Angeles, Hollywood to be exact. The order was a sudden one. There'd been no time to secure accommodations, and conditions being what they are, the inevitable result was that until day before yesterday, we'd been living in the cramped quarters of one of those characteristic California motels. Needless to say, most of our spare time had been devoted to a search for something more permanent and comfortable, but the fruits of these efforts had been, financially and in every other way, a geometrical progression of discouragement. Until last Saturday afternoon, only 4 days before Christmas. We were driving into town on our way to a movie when Ellen saw it.
Jim, look.
What?
That sign in front of that real estate office.
Oh, yeah.
But don't you see what it says? For rent, furnished, 2-bedroom house, close in, immediate occupancy.
Yeah,
How's you going to start?
Oh, Ellen, you know a sign like that. It mean right out in plain sight in front of a real estate office.
Oh, yeah, but Jim...
Either they want $600 a month...
We'll never know until we ask.
If it's any good at all, there are probably 50 people fighting for it right back there now.
Well, honey, there's no harm in trying. Now, is there?
You really want to go back?
Oh, it's probably foolish, but what can we lose?
Okay.
Oh, darling, come on, cheer up. How do you know? Maybe our luck will change. Maybe fate's going to give us a nice new house for a Christmas present.
We're sorry to bother you, but we just happened to see that for rent sign outside.
Oh, yeah. I hung it outside just this minute.
Is the house available?
Why, sure it is.
Let me introduce myself. My name is James A. Woods, and this is my wife, Ellen.
How do you do? Wow. Looks like it's fixing to rain.
Yes, so it does, doesn't it? Well, it was one of those things. The real estate agent had just been authorized to rent the place by mail that morning, and he'd hardly had time to look at it himself and put up his sign when we drove up. It was just an ordinary little California house about halfway up Cypress Canyon, number 2256. Just an ordinary, undistinguished little house. The agent didn't know much about it. Construction on it had been stopped by the war, and it had just been completed and furnished lately. It had been vacant while somebody's estate was being settled, and now it was owned by a bank in Sacramento. Of course, we didn't
Got
care
the
about
key
it.
in the mail along with the authorization to rent. Only one there is, because you can have duplicates made. It seems to stick a little. Oh, no, there it is.
It doesn't sound as though that door had ever been opened.
Well, a little oil on the hinges will fix that all right.
Oh, sure.
Now here's your living room. Furniture's a little dusty, of course. You got to expect that. It's good furniture, though, you see? Benson Brothers.
Yes,
Now, over here's a little den. Panel, you see? Radio, fireplace. Really a very attractive little room, particularly for a man.
Yeah.
Now, the bedroom's off the living room. Everything's all on one floor, you understand? It's quite nice, I think.
Yes.
You can see you get the morning sun here. There's a view of the canyon through these front windows. You got cross country.
That's about all there was to it. It wasn't the best place in the world. It was small and badly built, but what would you have done? We took it with as little inspection as that. It was the Saturday before Christmas. And the very same evening, we were struggling up the steps from the road with suitcases and boxes and armloads of clothes and all the endless bric-a-brac that people collect and never know they have until they move. Ellen began unpacking, and I began moving things around and taking the worst of the pictures off the wall, doing all the little things that everybody does when they move into a new place and try to give it something in their own personal.
That's your sourpuss. You know, it's a roof over our heads for Christmas. That's more than we ever thought we'd get, isn't it? Now, what in the world are we going to do with those two pictures?
Why don't we just leave them where they are?
Jim, we can't. They're too awful.
Oh, all right. Put them in the closet then.
I can't. Both the closets are jammed full.
No, I mean the other one in the little alcove off the den. At least there's a door there. I suppose it's a closet. I don't know.
That isn't a commentary on the housing problem, huh? A woman moving into a house without even knowing where all the closets are. Take the pictures down, will you, honey? Bring them in here.
Okay.
Guess you'll have to help me with this door. I can't get it open.
Let me see. Well, of course you can't, silly. It's locked. Where are those keys we found on the desk?
Oh, here they are.
No, not this one. Sure, this one won't work. Well, feels like an awful solid door for a closet.
Oh, and that's one solid door in the house.
Well, this one won't do it either. Well, we'll just have to get a locksmith up here on Monday. I'll put the pictures behind the desk, okay?
Yeah, all right. Jim, if you could just help me move this armchair, huh?
Oh, Ellen, will you let it go until tomorrow? You know what time it is?
Oh, but, honey, I'd like to get the place looking just a
but
little
it's
bit.
almost midnight. In fact, it's exactly...
What was that?
Tomcat, I guess, on the brush somewhere.
Sounded near. Hope that doesn't go on all night.
Well, there's much we can do about it. Come on, Ellen. I'm dead tired.
All right, Jim.
Where'd you put the toothpaste, eh?
It's right in the medicine cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
Jim, we ought to get some firewood tomorrow. You know, a fire in that living room would make all the difference in the world.
Can't. Sunday.
Well, Monday then. Jim, I think red curtains are what we need, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just at least for the living room. Anyway, the ones in there now have just got to come down.
Yeah, I suppose they do.
What do you think of red?
Well, I guess it's all...
Jim.
It's some tomcat.
Jim, it sounded in the house.
Oh, now, how could it be in the house, Ellen? We've been over every inch of the house.
Except that closet.
Now, how could a cat or anything else be in the closet that's been locked up for over a year?
I don't know.
Probably under the house. A wildcat or mountain lion or something. I hear they have them in California.
Jim, I don't like
Well,
it.
neither do I like it, but there's nothing we can do about it tonight.
Oh, maybe we ought to call somebody, the police or some
don't
neighbor.
be silly, Ellen. You act like a kid. Come on, let's go to bed, huh?
All right, I suppose it is silly. Jimmy, did you lock the door?
Yeah. Can I turn out the lights now?
Yeah. All right.
Good night, Ellen. Sleep tight.
Good night, Jim.
I don't know what time it was, perhaps an hour, perhaps only a half hour later. My mind was in that hazy borderland between sleep and a dream that's still part of consciousness. Then I was awake. Ellen, are you all right?
Yes.
Did you nightmare or something?
No. I heard it, too.
Well, that didn't sound like any cat.
Put on the light.
Yeah.
It seemed to be out there, Jim, in the house somewhere.
I'm going to look into this.
Jim, you be careful.
Come on. Where's my shotgun?
In the den, I think. Jim.
What?
There's something wet.
What? It's wet.
Running from under the closet door. Sticky.
Ellen, don't touch it.
I had to. Jim, it's blood.
For suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you Robert Taylor in The House in Cypress Canyon. Roma Wines' presentation tonight in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. And now, Roma Wines bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Robert Taylor as James A. Woods, with Kathy Lewis as his wife Ellen, in The House in Cypress Canyon. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
It cannot be too difficult to understand from the foregoing why I've taken the pains to set down in writing the events related here. To find in one's newly rented house a closet which cannot be opened is in itself certainly no great cause for alarm. But to be awakened in the stillness of the night by unearthly cries within that house, to find oozing from under that closet door something that is unquestionably blood, that's another matter. Perhaps others might have been braver than we. Suffice it only to say that we got out of the house in something very close to a panic, and only returned when we had the moral support of two stalwart Los Angeles policemen.
You just moved in here, you say?
That's right, officer. You can see we're still unpacking.
And the place has been empty right along before that?
Yeah, I don't know much about that part of it. You could check all that with the real estate agent, though.
Well, where is this closet?
Oh, it's right in here, officer. And the blood is...
Where? Where's the blood?
Jim?
Officer, I swear to you, there was blood on the floor less than an hour ago. I saw it.
Uh-huh.
It was running out from under that door. We heard that noise, and we got up, and then we saw it. The door was locked.
Locked, huh?
Oh, no.
Well, it seems to be all right now. Hey, you folks aren't trying to be funny, are you?
Isn't there anything in it?
No, ma'am, there is not.
Look, officer, we're reputable people. You can call my firm. They'll tell you all about me.
There's nothing wrong with this closet. Walls are solid. No trapdoors.
If you think I'm lying...
I didn't say that, mister. Oh, you probably did hear some sort of noise, and you got a little panicky.
What about the blood? It got on my hand.
Isn't there now, is it?
Yes.
Where?
I feel it.
Now, you folks just take it easy. You're liable to hear all kinds of noises up in these canyons at night. You're from the east, you say?
Yeah. I'm sorry, officer.
Ah, that's all right. That's all right. If you have any real trouble, call on us anytime.
All right.
Well, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Hey, you ought to have this door fixed. That's enough to scare you.
Yeah, we're going to have it fixed. We didn't say much about it after that. There wasn't much that could be said. The next day I went down to a lot and bought a little Christmas tree and some trimmings, and we tried to pretend we were cheerful, but there was an uneasiness between us that had never been there before. Ellen seemed tired and listless. Several times during the day I noticed her washing her hands with a brush, scrubbing the one that had touched the blood. That night we each took a sleeping pill and went to bed. It was sometime after midnight when I was suddenly wide awake and staring into the darkness. In some way, I knew at once and instinctively what had awakened me. Ellen was not in her bed nor in the room. The nameless thing I feared gripped at my heart until I could scarcely breathe. I opened the bedroom door and started through the house, putting on every light that I could find. There was not much to search, but I searched thoroughly. The living room, the kitchen, bathroom, den, even the garage. And all the time, the dread of looking where I knew at last I must look. For I think I knew from the very first time where I'd find her. It must have been a full minute that I stood before that closet door. Then I opened it. She stood there rigid, her arms at her sides, her fingers extended like claws. Her hair was over her face, her eyes stared out of it. Her lips were drawn back in a grin like an animal at bay. For a moment I was frozen with the horror of it. I stretched out my hand. Very deliberately, she turned her head and sunk her teeth until they met into the flesh of my forearm. I'd raised my hand to strike at her, but already she'd relaxed her hold and gone utterly limp. She would have fallen unless I'd caught her. I carried her into the bedroom and laid her on the bed. Strangely, at that moment, my only thought was how I might revive her. Until I saw that it was not a faint, but a sleep that she'd fallen into. A sleep as deep and heavy as though she'd been drugged. And so I left her. But for me, that night, there was no sleep. Yes, Ellen?
What are you doing up so early?
Oh, I got a little restless. Went out to make some coffee.
Oh. Oh, I had the most wonderful sleep. And I feel so rested.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Jim.
What?
What's the matter with your arm?
Oh, I just heard it.
Well, honey, it's terribly swollen. Let me see it.
No, it's all right, Ellen.
Oh, it isn't all right. You've got to see Dr. Wesley right away.
Sure, I will.
No,
I will.
you promised me, Jim, that you'll go the first thing this morning. How'd it happen?
Why, there was a dog.
Dog?
Yeah, I heard him trying to chew through the screen door. I went out to chase him away, and he bit me.
Well, you mean was all that racket and I didn't even wake up?
No, Ellen, you didn't even wake up. It was clear to me that Ellen knew nothing of what had transpired the night before. I went to my office that morning and made a pretense of going over routine business, if only to restore my mind to some semblance of calm by the sight and sound of common, familiar things. I knew that my arm had become a persistent, dull throbbing. I made a late appointment with Dr. Wesley. He treated my arm with something of an arched eyebrow, and he said,
Well, I've never seen anything quite like it before. That is, such a rapid onset of infection.
It was dark when I left his office. I hadn't realized it was so late. Driving home, my car seemed sluggish until I saw the needle on the dashboard and realized that I was pushing it to the utmost of its speed. I was racing home to prevent something before it was too late, before the darkness conspired against me. For somehow I already knew with certainty that it was the darkness and the night that I had to fear. The curves of the canyon seemed endless. And then the cold fear leaped up inside me. My house, too, was dark. I went slowly up the stone steps from the road, looking, praying for some sign of light or light. There was none. The house was empty. Ellen was gone. I looked with the same self-torturing thoroughness, and in that closet first of all, knowing as I did so that it was hopeless. And so, alone in that empty house, I waited, powerless and helpless now, deadened in thought and will, empty as the house itself, save only for the overwhelming sense of a terrible foreboding. For some time in the early hours of the morning, I snapped on the radio, shortwave. Why? Surely a minor question now. I only know that I did. And then I heard it.
Car 58, car 58, go to Laurel Canyon, the 4000 block. Report that a man has been injured or attacked. Condition thought to be critical. Ambulance will follow. That is all.
I was there almost before the police, edging my way through the little crowd, staring down at the man lying there in his white uniform under the streetlight.
Yeah, the milkman, poor guy. I heard him scream, but when I got here, he was just like this.
All right, stand back, stand back. Please stand back.
Well, you again.
I heard it on the radio. I lived just down the road.
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Well, take a look. Maybe you can tell us.
He was dead. And he was lying on his back. And his throat had been torn out, as though by the fangs of some wild animal. It is now Christmas Eve, or rather Christmas morning, for it's a little after midnight. I've been waiting here in the stillness of this empty house for nearly 24 hours, waiting for the end. Already once tonight I've heard that dreadful wailing cry somewhere in the hills. I've nailed up the closet door, but that I know is childish, useless. My arm is horribly swollen and turning black, but that's nothing. It's another end that I foresee, as surely as other men foresee the rising of the sun. I hear the cry again. It's nearer now. I shall leave these notes in a sealed envelope and put it in a shoebox, in the hope that someone will give credence to these dark and terrible events, if indeed such nameless horrors can ever yield to mortal understanding. As for myself, I feel no longer any fear or even sorrow, only a desire that the end and the thing that I must do may come soon. And it will be soon, I know. Yes, for there is someone at the door.
the door. Huh. What do you make of it, Sam?
It's quite a yarn. But what of it?
That's what I thought. Now, listen, that's not quite all of it.
Huh?
Clip to it's a newspaper clipping. Listen. Hollywood, December the 26th. Police reported what was apparently a case of murder and suicide in Cypress Canyon sometime in the early hours of the morning. The victims were James A. Woods, a chemical engineer, and his wife, Ellen. Preliminary investigation indicates that Mrs. Woods was killed by the blast of a shotgun in the hands of her husband, who then turned the weapon upon himself. That she fought desperately for her life, however, was evidenced by the disorder of the room and the severe lacerations inflicted upon her husband about the neck and arm. This is the second tragedy to be reported in Cypress Canyon within 24 hours, the other being the unexplained death of Frank Polanski, a milkman.
Well, no such murders or whatever they were ever occurred, if that's what's worrying you. The clipping, well, you have those things printed up, you know.
No, it's not that, Sam. That story was found in an unfinished house in Cypress Canyon. No number, no nothing, just a framework.
Uh-huh.
Now that house is finished. When I drove by it today, well, that's what stopped me, Sam, because it all fits. Now that it's finished, it is the house in the story, the same construction, the same vines and creepers on the lawn, even the same number.
So what, a guy who knows roughly that this house is going to be like writes a yarn and loses it or something?
Did he know the place was going to be listed for rental today, the Saturday before Christmas?
Oh, Jerry, coincidence. Too bad you find the guy next door is a ghost story writer or something, and he's been wondering for a year what happened to that thing he wrote.
Okay, coincidence. Well, I'm sorry I bothered you.
Don't be silly. I liked it. It's a good yarn. That the for rent sign you were talking about?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to put it up outside now.
Uh-huh. Well, so long, Jerry, and Merry Christmas again.
Well, thanks, Sam. I guess I was kind of silly, all right.
Listen, when a guy named, whatever it is, Woods, with a wife named Ellen comes in to rent that place from you, then you can start worrying.
Yeah. Well, so long, Sam.
So long, Jerry.
Come in.
Oh, we're sorry to bother you, but we just happened to see that for rent sign outside.
Well, yeah, I hung it out just this minute.
Is the house available?
Oh, sure it is.
Let me introduce myself. My name is James A. Woods, and this is my wife, Ellen.
How do? Wow. Looks like it's fixing to...
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Suspense. Presented by Roma Wines, R-O-M-A, Roma Wines, selected for your pleasure from the world's greatest reserves of fine wine. Suspense. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ahoy! It's me. Just came ashore.
From what? A boat?
A ship, Effie, a ship. Anything over 400 gross tons is a ship. Anybody knows that.
Well, may I inquire what was your port of call?
Calcutta.
My, that was a quick trip.
Well, Effie, I'll tell you, I got so homesick for you I couldn't stand it, so I assembled my gear and jumped ship.
Why, Sam, how sweet.
A faster, gal. I'll be right down to dictate my report.
You are alive.
Bon voyage, Effie.
I've been worried sick. Where have you been?
On my way to Calcutta, sweetheart, where the dawn comes up like thunder.
Sam, what are you talking about? Calcutta.
And the Flying Fishes play. Ready, Effie?
Sam, why did you want to go to Calcutta, of all places?
I didn't, Effie. I hate Calcutta. I was shanghaied. To Mr. Philip J. Fogg, purser, SS Lurene.
How do you spell that, Sam?
Lurene.
Oh, that's pretty. Sam, how could you be shanghaied in this day and age? I mean, isn't it against the law?
Stow it, Effie. You're pumping bilge water.
Sam, I am not.
From Samuel Spade, license number 137596, when you have the time, regarding the Calcutta trunk caper. Dear Mr. Fogg, the following report will explain the enclosed voucher, which is a claim against your company for the amount of $500 and no cents. It will also answer any questions you might be asked concerning the recent unpleasantness on board your ship. It all started yesterday morning in San Francisco when my secretary announced briefly and caustically that there was a lady outside who wanted to talk to me. I judged that she was worth talking to. She was.
Your secretary let me in.
Well, I'm glad she did. What can I do for you?
I'm Marcia Hopkins.
I see.
Mrs. Marcia Hopkins.
I see.
However, my husband is dead.
I see.
It's about my sister that I've come to you, Mr. Spade. I'm dreadfully worried about her.
Who's your sister?
Miss Constance Pendleton. And she's become involved with a ne'er-do-well, a completely worthless scoundrel, and a real foreign bluebeard.
All three?
It's one man, Mr. Spade, a Bulgarian, Major Andrea Rodnik. They're going to be married this afternoon, and I'm positive that his only interest is in her money. I'm convinced that he's going to kill her soon after the ceremony. He's done it to other wives in Europe. I've warned Constance and pleaded with her, done everything I could to stop it. But she's completely infatuated with him and refuses to listen to me.
Mm-hmm. What do you want me to do?
Prevent the marriage if you can. Get the truth about Rodnik's background and face Constance with it. Oh, Mr. Spade, in some way you've got to make her realize the seriousness of the situation. He's a ruthless character.
Well, do what I can, Mrs. Hopkins.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Spade. Oh, I've felt so alone and helpless until now.
All right.
But you will do everything you can, won't you? We've got to save her life.
She daubed at her eyes with a stamp-sized handkerchief, patted the red gold hair of the temples nervously, smiled at me bravely, and swayed out. By telephone, I learned that the Vrodnik-Pendleton marriage license had been issued 4 days before, and that on the same day, Constance Pendleton had withdrawn a savings account to the tune of $45,000. I'd always wanted to, so I did it. I called at the Bulgarian consulate.
What can I do on you?
What do you know about Major Andrea Vrodnik?
Andrea Vrodnik! On him we have hate, great sadness, with shame for the ground that walked under him.
Oh?
Ha! Andrea Vrodnik!
Why is he so popular?
On the devil he is driven without horns. 6 women he has killed. 6 times he has insulted the police of Europe by refusing to confess. We have proof of the murders, but never can we prove the proof on him.
Yeah, sometimes it goes that way.
Ha! Never do we find the bodies of the 6 women. Only their money in the name of Andrea Vrodnik. My pardon.
Well, think nothing of it. You're just upset on you.
You're interested on him. Why? You go to Europe?
No, Vrodnik comes here.
Ah, here on San Francisco. He marries again.
So I'm told.
Oh, by all the means you must prevent it. Go to him, brave man. You do the world a service. Make violence on him. Even do you hang for it. Your name will live.
With those valiant words goading me on, I left. The farther I got into the caper, the more it looked as if Marcia's fears for Constance Pendleton were very real and very well-founded. When Constance opened the door of her hotel suite, I could see 3 trunks and a number of smaller pieces of luggage, all locked and ready to be taken out.
Yes?
You're Constance Pendleton?
Yes?
I'm a detective. My name is Spade.
Detective? What do you want?
I want to talk to you about that Bluebeard you're going to marry.
Get out of here.
You listen, I'll talk, and then I'll get out of here. I just left the Bulgarian consulate. Vrodnik has been accused of the murders of 6 women in Europe. Each of them were wealthy. Each of them married him, and each time Vrodnik came into all their money.
Are you trying to blackmail me because of the lies about my fiancé's past? If you are, you're wasting your time.
Well, no matter what I'm doing, I'm wasting my time. But to put you straight, your sister hired me, and I am now resigning. She's worried about you, not me.
Then you should spend more time investigating your clients, Mr. Spade. You could have saved both of us some time. I have no sister. This is my wedding day. Goodbye, Mr. Spade.
As I left the room, I maintained the stern facial expression I reserved for moments of great shock. But once outside the door, I allowed myself to be carried on the wave of rage and embarrassment for just a minute, and I kicked over 2 potted palms. As I limped down the corridor, I was overtaken by none other than Marcia Hopkins.
Did you see her?
Let's talk about you first.
Did you stop the marriage?
Why did you really want that marriage stopped?
But I told you.
You told me you were her sister.
Oh.
She said she didn't have any sister.
All right, Sam, I did lie to you about that. But I'll tell you who I really am.
I don't want to know who you are. I don't ever want to know. All I want from you is my honestly earned fee and a brief but permanent goodbye.
Oh, no, Sam, please, listen to me. We've got to save that girl. I have $500. That's all I have. Would it be enough?
What's your real name?
Marshal Brodnick. Yes, he's my husband. I've been married to him for 10 years. We've traveled all over Europe, and I never knew where the money was coming from. He left me at times for 2 weeks or a month, and then when he'd come back, there'd be more money. I just realized that that's when he must have been killing those poor women. And I know that's what he's going to do this time. I just can't stand it. You've got to protect her.
That should be easy. We'll let him get married and meet him at the door with a bigamy warrant.
Then you will see me through this.
I might.
Oh. In my bag, there's $500. Take it. If we can't stop the marriage, then don't let him out of your sight. Not even for a minute. He's a beast, Sam. A beast.
Marcia dropped me in front of the Beast's Hotel, and I climbed some fake marble steps to the second floor and knocked at his door. The man who opened it was heavy, handsome in a swarthy, coarse sort of a way, and glowing conceit through 2 eyes, one monocled, one not.
You are facing Major Andrei Vrodnik, 1st Bulgarian Horse. What want you?
You are facing Saul Fox of the law firm of Fox, Smedley, Van Dusen, and Grip.
You overwhelmed yourself.
I came here to warn you. If you go through with the marriage to Constance Pendleton, you're going to find yourself tangled with civil law.
Warn Andrei Vrodnik, who has personally led more saber charges than you have teeth in your skull.
Yes.
Who has personally split, slashed, and impaled on his own blade more men than you have fingers and toes. You warn me? What is this talk?
You're going to have a bigamy charge slapped on you 5 minutes after you slip her the ring. The warrant signed by Mrs. Marcia Vrodnik.
Bigamy? I laugh. This is not bigamy.
Marcia's your wife, isn't she?
That bigamy was committed when I married her. I had another wife then. You call yourself a lawyer, then you know that only the second marriage is bigamy. The ones following that are nothing but interludes.
Okay, Major, go ahead and have your interlude. I'm just warning you.
Oh, speaks. We are being married on Redwood City from a justice of the peace 1 hour previous. Then we are sailing through the SS Lurine at midnight with our honeymoon. Already a droshky waits for the baggage and luggage. Go now before I'm losing my temper. If you're ever in Calcutta, look me up. Da!
I could see the direct approach was getting me nowhere, so I decided to proceed by stealth. I waited outside the building, and when he left, I tailed him. He made 4 stops at a second-hand store, a hardware store, a surgical supply house, and an undertaker supply house. At these places, he purchased the following items: an oversized steamer trunk, black with brass fittings, a large ball of rope twine, 2 large lead sash weights, a set of surgical instruments, and at the 4th and final stop, the undertaking supply, he bought 2 items: a 20-foot length of rubber tubing and a pump. He returned to the second-hand store with his other purchases, put them inside the trunk, and ordered it sent up to Constance's hotel immediately, and thereupon it took himself to the same place. Marcia was waiting in the empty lobby when he went in. I crouched behind a pillar, turned up my hearing aid, and listened.
Did you get the thing?
Yeah. Now listen, my darling. We must work fast. As soon as the trunk arrives, before she has a chance to get to the telephone.
Yes, Andre, but please, no cutting in the apartment.
As you wish, my darling. Now, you know what you have to do. While I'm getting her into the trunk, you'll change her clothes, put on her traveling dress, the hat with the wet...
What is it? What's the matter?
Nothing. Come, we must make haste.
They made haste to the elevators, and I made haste to the row of house telephone booths around the corner and called Constance's room.
Hello?
Mrs. Rodnick?
Speaking.
Listen, get out of that room right away. Don't take the elevator. Get down the stairs.
Who is this? What are you talking about?
I haven't got time to explain, and you haven't got time to listen. All those stories about your husband are true. He's going...
Hello? Are you still on the line?
My hand clawed out to the door handle, but I couldn't reach it. I felt as if the walls were closing in around me, and just before it got dark, I had the crazy notion that I was inside Brodnick's big black trunk with the brass fittings. I could still hear Constance's voice way off in the distance, somewhere in the direction of Calcutta. I tried to shout to her, to warn her, and then the lid closed over me. I shook my head trying to get the bells out of it. Then I remembered where I was and what had happened. I was still wedged into the bottom of the phone booth where I'd slumped when Brodnick sapped me. I got out of there somehow and grabbed a taxi for the Embarcadero. The time was 11:55. The SS Lorraine was scheduled to sail at midnight. I was no sooner across it than they hauled up the gangplank and the ship started moving out of the berth. I didn't know where she was bound for, and I didn't much care. I checked the passenger list and found that Major and Mrs. Andrea Brodnick were in stateroom 12, A deck. 1 minute later, I was hammering on the door of stateroom 12. The woman in Brodnick's stateroom was Constance, and she was not in a trunk.
I thought I told you to stop interfering in our affairs.
Yeah, your husband told me to, but I didn't like the way he did it.
Get out from here. Get out.
I see you got your trunk in here where it's handy. Doesn't it make the stateroom kind of crowded?
Why don't you give up, Mr. Spade? 2 times already. You are twice a fool. Marcia has no money to pay you. Neither have I, even if she had the case. And believe me, she has not.
Oh, why do you even bother talking to him, Andre? Mr. Spade, will you go now, or will I have to call the steward and make a complaint against you?
I went. I still thought Marcia Hopkins was somewhere on that ship. I still didn't like the look of that trunk. I found the purser's office and went in. You looked at me as if you thought I was a stowaway, Mr. Fogg, and you were right.
I'll have to make arrangements for you to ride back with a pilot, Mr. Spade. You realize, of course, that you're subject to a fine.
Look, I don't want to do anything illegal. You know, it was just an impulsive thing. Couldn't I book a passage?
Oh, there's the matter of your passport. You could arrange your visa and so on in San Pedro. We'll put in there in the morning.
Well, that's good enough. How much is the fare?
Well, let me see. That's $483.87, exclusive of tax.
Oh, hey, now, wait, I wasn't thinking of taking quite such an extensive voyage, you know. I just wanted to get a little sea air. And, how much to Pedro?
Well, I'm afraid you don't understand, Mr. Spade. This is not a coastwise steamer. Our first official port of call is Calcutta.
Yeah, I know, but Calcutta?
That's in India.
Well, don't you have something a little less expensive, like steerage or...
There is only one stateroom available, number 14A deck. Take it or leave it.
Okay, Calcutta. After buying my passage to Calcutta, I had exactly 12 cents left. This I gave to the steward who showed me to my stateroom. He thanked me, kicked me in the shins, and left. Out on deck, a tall, red-nosed old gentleman in knickerbockers and a yachting cap was taking a turn around the deck. With him was a face I'd seen in the morning lineup down at the Hall of Justice a dozen times. He was a hotel thief by profession, name of Norman Gorman. He knew me, too, but he didn't give me a tumble. I fell into step with him.
See here. Nothing like it, am I right?
Yeah, I guess it's okay, but there's so much of it.
Brisk, bracing, salt spray. Nothing like it. Oh, hey, Norman, my lad.
I hate it. I hate boats. Suppose there was a fire on board.
Fire? Oh, ridiculous. This your first voyage to the Orient?
Yeah.
The inscrutable East.
You've made this trip before?
Oh, yes, indeed. I've worked this line. Yes, indeed. I make this voyage very often. Business interest out in India. Tea, you know. Runs in my family. Sturgis's Golden Orange in the little yellow package. Ever tried it?
No, I never indulged.
Huh? Don't drink tea. That's ridiculous.
Commodore, I need a drink. I ain't happy. Suppose there was a fire on board here.
Well, let's all have a drink.
Yeah, suppose there was
Shall
a
we?
fire.
Come on, I'll shot you to a drink, sir.
Not me, Commodore. I just remember this is Fire Prevention Week. The nearest fire alarm to Brodnick's stateroom was on the companionway leading to the A-deck corridor. It was a glass-enclosed box with a small hammer hanging on a chain. I broke the glass and turned the key. In 3 seconds flat, the entire population of A-deck was shoving each other up the companionway, grabbing for life preservers as they went. The steward hammered on the door of stateroom 12, opened it, shouted inside, and Brodnick and Constance reluctantly came out. I ducked inside, grabbed the handle of the trunk, and started dragging it. When I got it into my stateroom, I broke the lock and lifted the lid. It was Marcia, all right. There was just time to see that before the stateroom door flew open and the ship's officer stuck his head in.
I didn't move you. Didn't you hear the alarm?
Why, no, I didn't. What's wrong?
Never mind. Daddy, take this life preserver. Get going now.
Okay. Don't touch me. It makes me nervous. 20 minutes later, the captain announced to the mob up on the deck that it was a false alarm, and the passengers drifted back to their cabins. I tried to look casual as I unlocked my stateroom door and walked in. Then I stopped trying. The trunk was still there, but the lid was standing open, and it was empty. I went down to B deck and found the cabin occupied by Norm and the Commodore. That door was locked, so I kicked it in. You could still see the marks on her wrists and ankles where the cord had been. It was the girl I had seen in the trunk. It was Marcia Hopkins, and she was very much alive.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was... Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You've got to help me, Sam.
Why should I help you?
He's crazy. They're both crazy.
It all depends on who's in the trunk, doesn't it, Marcia? When it was Constance, you didn't think he was so crazy.
Oh, don't you understand? I had to pretend that I'd help him. He was going to kill her right there in the hotel room. I told him it was too dangerous. If anybody looked in the trunk, it would be safer if she was in there alive. So he finally agreed and said he'd wait until we got out to sea to kill her. And then he was
I know about that.
Oh, the idea was so awful. I couldn't stand it. I started to scream, and then he stuffed the gag in my mouth and tied me up. He must have used chloroform or something, because the next thing I knew, I was in the trunk. And that little dark man was leaning over me. He and that old man with the knickers. They brought me here.
So they pulled a switch on you. You were the fall gal all along.
Oh, you've got to believe me. It was the only way I could save her life. You're the only one I can turn to, Sam. That little thief and the old man, they'd deliver me dead if there was an extra $25 in it. Oh, say you'll help me, Sam. Please say it.
Well, when you ask me like that, what else can I say?
Oh, you do believe me, darling. You do believe me.
Come on, let's get out of here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Spade. Please step back inside. I promised my associate, Mr. Gorman, that I would not allow this young lady to risk her life by leaving this cabin.
You're getting into this caper at the wrong end, Commodore. It's wound up. They've bungled it. It's no good anymore.
You may be right. But you understand my position, sir. I can't take any chances. You've talked to Mr. Gorman?
Norm? Yeah, I talked to him.
He took you into his confidence?
Stop making with the pistol, Commodore. You don't know how to use it anyway.
Oh, heavens, Norm. You're as white as a sheet. What is it?
Oh, he's sick. Go get a doctor.
Yes, indeed. Right away.
Listen, Spade. Take her with you. Get out of here. I don't want no part of this.
You got it bad, Norm.
I'm sick, I tell you. The way I had it sized, this was a clean caper, a snatch. I figure the dame here's an heiress or something. Maybe they drop her off in L.A., connect some ransom, and go on. I figured there was enough for all of us. Oh, but that creep, that Rodnick, he's crazy. He's a regular Jack the Ripper.
Stop babbling, Norm. Tell me what happened, exactly what happened.
I get a sinking feeling in my stomach every time I think about it. Well, I go in, see? He's very smooth, very businesslike. He offers me a drink. I accept it. He mixes a couple of highballs for me and the dame, then he starts talking. I guess she don't know all about it before this, because she gets just sick as I do. First I think he's kidding. Then he drags out this set of cutlery like a doctor uses to operate on people. Only he's got something else in mind. The porthole, you understand?
Oh, please. I don't want to hear anymore.
Being as it's you he has in mind, I don't blame you. My stomach.
Hey, Norm. Norm.
Here he is, the ship's surgeon. Oh, dear me. What?
Stand away from him, please. Help me get him into the bunk.
Sure, Doc.
Take the shade off that light, please. Yes.
He's dead, isn't he?
Oh, yes, he's dead, of course. Who poisoned him?
I didn't waste any time answering him. I grabbed him by the arm. Before he could object, I was pushing him up the companionway to A deck. It was probably too late to save Constance's life if she'd drunk the same poison, and I was pretty sure she had, but if I was going to nail him for the murder of Constance, I had to get there before the evidence vanished. We got there just in time. I don't need to tell you what we saw, and I'd rather not. Rodnick rose slowly to his feet, clicked his heels military fashion, and bowed very low.
The ship's surgeon. How opportune. Perhaps you could advise me, Doctor. After all, I am, in all honesty, even still, a mere amateur at this sort of thing.
After Rodnick had been taken into custody, we took another turn around the deck. It was daylight, and the ship was lying to off San Pedro. This time, the fresh air really felt good, and so did Marcia.
It's all over, Sam.
Yes, sweetheart, it's all over.
But not between us. Say it, Sam. Say it's not all over between us.
How can it be?
I knew it. I knew you felt the same way. All my life before, it's been like a terrible nightmare. It never really happened.
But it did happen, sweetheart.
Oh, but you can forget it, darling, can't you? Please forget it.
I'd like to, Marcia. I really would.
Hold me close, Sam. Never let me go.
You're beautiful.
Is that all, Sam? Nothing else?
Yeah, lots else. That's why I think we'd better say goodbye right now. Because when I feel like this, I get foolish. And if I get foolish with you, I'm likely to wake up in a trunk someplace. And that, Mr. Fogg, is the true account of the Calcutta trunk caper. As my voyage was interrupted through no fault of my own, I trust you will advise your company to refund my passage minus the one-way trip to San Pedro. Period, and a report.
Sam Spade is played by... Listen now to The Adventures of Sam Spade, starring Howard Duff in The Convertible Caper.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Sam, I knew you'd have the courage to come back and face it.
Well, I'm back, Effie. What shall I face first?
You didn't do something else, did you, Sam?
Besides what?
Besides running away with that woman in a stolen car.
You're a little mixed up, Effie. The car was stolen from her.
You mean it was her own car?
Well, not exactly, Effie. You see, she stole it from somebody else, and then somebody stole it from her, and then I got it back for her.
Well, it must have been quite a car to be worth all that trouble.
It wasn't so much the car, Effie, as...
Party? Sam, I don't understand.
Think it over, sweetheart. I'll be right down to dictate my report.
Oh, Sam, look at you. Can't you take no for an answer?
And just what do you mean by that, Miss Perrine?
Claw marks on your face.
Wrong again, sweetheart. She said yes, I said no. Hence the scratching.
I knew she was that type the minute she walked into this office. That ankle bracelet and green nail polish.
Green nail polish.
Well, puce colors.
This one goes to homicide, Effie.
Oh, not another murder, Sam.
What else? To Detective Lieutenant Dundee from Samuel Spade with license number 12756. Subject, the Convertible Caper. Dear Dundee, it has been a dull morning, but just before lunchtime, things began to brighten up. Her clothes looked like money, and what they were wrapped around looked even better. She eased herself into the chair I pushed up for her, rattled about $1,000 worth of charm bracelet at me, and after she'd arranged her legs, mouth, and eyes to our mutual satisfaction, she allowed me to hear the sound of her beautiful voice.
I do not know whether you will be interested in my case or not, Mr. Spade.
Put your mind at rest, Miss...
Estrada. Who knows? Perhaps I am merely a waste of time.
My time is your time, as we say in the States, Mrs. Estrada.
Oh, you are very simpatico, very kind.
Yes.
Entonces, my automobile has been stolen.
When and from where?
Last night, after midnight, while I was checking in at the Hotel San Rafael, where I am staying, I foolishly left it parked outside with the keys in it.
Have you reported this to the police?
No.
I suggest you do.
No.
No?
No.
Well, why not?
Because I stole it from another.
Oh, I see.
No, but you do not yet know all. If the police find the car and notify the one from whom I stole it, then that one will know that I am in San Francisco.
And that's bad.
He can't say that. If he finds out I'm in San Francisco, then he will come here and kill me. That is why I must recover the car rapidly and without the police. You will be glad to help me.
Be very pleasant, Mrs. Estrada, but hot cars are not exactly in my line.
You wish that I...
I don't think anybody would murder you just for stealing his car.
Oh, not for the car, no. Already he tried to kill me once, twice, 3 times. So I take the car and drive away rapidly.
Away from where?
Mexico State of Chihuahua, where this pig resides who wishes to murder me.
Why?
He drinks, he becomes a beast. He accuses me of... Look here on my shoulder, the scar. Well, already he cuts me with a knife. Uh-huh. Now you have seen something that changes your mind about me, huh? You see that I am sincere.
Why, Mrs. Estrada, I never had any doubt.
Oh, please. I am without friends. You would call me Mitch, I guess?
Yes, indeed.
Bueno, now we are friends. In the car is sitting the pig.
Hey, what's this pig's name?
Pig is the only name I will honor him with. Pig.
Now, what make of car is this?
Trianza. You know this kind of car?
Yeah, it's a foreign car. I've seen a few around. This must have set the pig back several $1,000.
He steals everything. Listen, my darling, please notice. Around here is pink with blue fenders.
Not anymore. That's the first thing a car thief changes, the paint job. Any other distinguishing marks? Yes.
I think. It has a radio.
You don't say.
And it has 2 windshield wipers.
Well, I'll buzz around, meet you. If I find anything, I'll let you know. My fee is...
Yes. That is something else. I have no money.
Oh, that's great. That's just great.
But I am sincere. You said so. Look, my darling, take this. It is worth very much. See? This little charm alone. Platinum set with diamonds. Worth very much. You will keep it until I pay you, eh? Adios, Father. Hasta la vista.
She thrust the charm bracelet into my hand, bit me on the ear, and departed. I put a Band-Aid on it, ran some cold water over my head, poured myself a stiff slug of bourbon, and examined the bracelet. The dangle she pointed out was a white metal disc with a monogram in diamonds, 2 vertical bars with a horizontal one on top. It was the Greek letter pi or the initials PT, depending on who had stolen it from whom. I knew it was at least worth my fee. I dropped it into my pocket and went out. My first stop was over on Mission. The sign on the building says, Masterpiece Auto Painting, Joe Rembrandt, proprietor.
Sam, long time no see.
Hello, Joe.
Got something you want painted?
No, but I think you may have painted something I want.
Sam, you know me. They drive them in the front. We spray the paint on them and push them out the back. No questions asked.
That's quite a turnover, Joe.
Yeah, we're going big time. Got the exclusive now for the syndicate work in the hill.
Is that right?
Yeah. What are you looking for, Sam? A murder car?
Could be. It's a custom job. Foreign car. Deonza. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah. Convertible. Sure. Come in this morning. 2-color job.
Which 2 colors?
Canary yellow body, baby blue fenders. Yeah, quite a car, Sam. Quite a snazzy Heath.
Heath, huh?
Yeah. Is that what you want to know?
It was. Happy Herman Heath was one of the biggest used car thieves in the city. As I got off the streetcar in front of Happy Herman's lot, a flash of canary yellow paint caught my eye. I strolled down between the rows of cars and found him.
Yes, sir. Heath's the name. Happy Herman Heath. Every car on this lot is in perfect mechanical condition. Take your choice.
Kind of hard to choose, Herman. There's so many here.
Yes, sir. It takes a heap of heaps to make a heap of heap.
Yeah. That yellow job with the blue fenders,
Oh, yes, sir, but the motor in that car, it does need some work. Now, over here...
Does it run?
Oh, yes, it'll run, but over here...
This is more what I want. Let me try it. Sounds all right to me.
Oh, idling, yes, but needs some work in the transmission of the differential.
Mind if I drive it around the block?
Well, the mechanics are just about to work on it. Besides, I'm afraid this car is more than you care to invest.
Well, let me try it out anyway. Here, I'll leave a deposit. I reached in my pocket for Misha's charm bracelet. He took one look at it, and his expression changed.
Well, why didn't you say so? No deposit is necessary. The car's yours. Drive it as far as you like.
Thank you, Herman Heath. I took him at his word. I put the magic bracelet in my pocket, drove back to O'Farrell Street, parked in front of the San Rafael Hotel, slipped the doorman a buck to wash it for me, and went on into the lobby. The desk clerk said that Senorita Estrada had checked out 30 minutes before, leaving no address. I found the house chick in the bar and asked him for a rundown.
Yeah, I remember her, Sam. Very nice dish.
Any callers, Tiny?
Yeah, 2 guys.
Yeah?
They went out when they came. Ain't been back since.
Who were they?
You won't believe it, Sam. One of them was Tom Carey.
What's he doing in San Francisco? He's wanted for murder.
Well, I don't know, but there must be plenty in it if he brought him back across the border.
He's staying here?
Yeah, room 613.
Do me a favor, will you, Tiny?
Anything at all, Sam.
There's a car parked outside in the loading zone here. Stow it in the hotel garage for me, will you? Upstairs, as far out of sight as you can get it. I went upstairs and rang the buzzer at room 613. The door was opened by a little dark-complected man with hard eyes and Indian features. There was a mean-looking knife in his hand, but he put it away at a nod from Tom Carey.
How'd you find out I was in town?
Not from Meacher.
I don't know how much he told you, Sam, but if he told you this much, he was 11. It's $1 million caper. And you know some of the things I've done for less.
What's in it for me?
What'd she pay you?
Nothing. She left this charm bracelet in Hawk.
Now, boss, I caught him now.
Shut up, Falcon. Give me that bracelet.
Watch it, Tom. Don't crowd me. I got something bigger than this, or you wouldn't be here.
All right, Sam, what do you want?
I want to hear you talk.
I guess you know I've been down Mexico way.
I'm listening.
I got a little business down there, garage business.
Running hot cars across the border from the States?
We tool them all. Little body work, a new serial number, like plastic surgery.
Sounds like a good business. You shouldn't be neglecting it.
You met the dame.
She says you want to kill her.
I was off my trout. I scared her. I didn't mean anything. I thought I could scare him for sitting around. I let Parco nick her shoulder a little bit.
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah. I figured her wrong. I know that now. If I could see her for 5 minutes just to talk to her, I know it'd be okay.
I can't help you, Tom. I want to talk to her myself.
Well, since she hasn't got a penny, only that car. She figures I'm peddling that.
Not anymore.
She already sold it?
Some car thieves took it. She hired me to trace it.
Listen, Sam. Maybe broke in a strange country. I'd look good to her again. Here's $1,000, Sam.
Oh, this is so sudden, Tom.
Nothing. When you see her again, give her that bracelet back, huh? It was a present from me. And whatever you do, don't find that seller.
Okay, Tom, it's a promise. Only one thing I don't understand. You said it was $1 million caper.
I meant that. She's worth $1 million to me, Sam.
The girl, Tom, or the car?
Oh, I wish I hadn't asked that question, Sam. I really do.
And now, back to the Convertible Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
When Tom Carey said $1 million caper, he meant just that. He never risked a rap for less than $100,000, and no dame that ever lived was worth more to him than a hot mink coat. If Nietzsche wasn't the $1 million package, the car was. I didn't know what was in it. With Tom, it might be diamonds, dope, smuggled Chinese, or just plain money. So I went back to the hotel garage.
Number 1279.
I climbed the long, curving ramp to the second floor and found the canary yellow Dianza convertible crowded in behind 4 ranks of cars at the rear of the building. I started to work on it. Nothing in the luggage trunk, nothing under the seats, under the upholstery, and the door panels, nothing anywhere. Then I got Tiny Stover, and the two of us went over the second time.
It's a cold lead, Sam.
It's not, I know it's not. Now think, Tiny, what's different about this car?
Well, solider built than most. Good body work. I don't know. Hey, here's something.
What?
There's a hole punched out of this fender over here. About the size of a quarter.
Let me see that.
Yeah, right here. It curves under, see?
Yeah.
What's that you got?
Charm bracelet. Did you say this dangle on here was what was cut out of that fender?
Let me see. It fits. Fits even the curve.
Yeah.
What does it mean, Sam?
The dangle on the bracelet is solid platinum.
Hey, Sam, are you trying to tell me the fenders on this heap are solid platinum?
You got a pocket knife, Tiny?
Yeah.
Thanks.
It shines. Sam, is this a hot car?
I didn't answer him. I didn't have to. He looked from the gray-white gleam of the bracelet shine to the square of paint I'd scraped off the fender and answered the question himself. Nietzsche's convertible was convertible in more ways than one. It was about the hottest car in San Francisco as of that moment. After I'd left the garage, I tried to phone Tom, but he wasn't in. I had an uncomfortable feeling he was out looking for me. He was. As I stepped out of the phone booth, there was a rush of air past my left ear. A knife stuck in the wood, less than an inch west of him. I came out in the street and found to see him duck around the corner into an alley. I ran after him. I collared him and stood him up against a wall.
Let me go. Let me go. I cut you down.
What do you know about that car? What do you know about that car? Come on, talk, and you get more of this.
I don't know nothing. They don't tell me nothing.
Where's Misha?
I don't know. Misha don't know nothing either. Only Tom and...
Tom and who else?
I don't talk no more.
They cutting you in?
I don't need no cut. The boss, he pays me good. 40 pesos. Sometimes more.
Work for me and I'll cut you in.
I cut you to pieces. The boss treats me good.
Sure, you do all the dirty work. There's any trouble, you'll take the rap.
What means rap?
They put you in a little room and squirt gas in you. You fall dead.
Gas? Tom do this?
He does indeed.
Venga. Come, I take you to see the man. Su nombre es Felix. I think he will be very happy to see you.
The place Paco took me to was about as high on Russian Hill as you can get. The house was old, faced in brownstone, and had a high iron fence around it. On the gate was a nameplate, H.H. Lovelace. When I opened it to go in, I noticed that Paco was no longer with me.
Oh, Mr. Spade, come in.
The gray-haired gentleman who greeted me was wearing a wing collar, a carnation, and a very distinguished air. I could hardly believe it, but he was definitely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, none other than the one and only Happy Herman Heap.
Well, Mr. Spade, I see that you're surprised.
I'm overwhelmed, Mr. Heap.
Lovelace, that is the correct name. For my avocation, I selected my first and second names, the H.H., you know. My full name is Herman Heap Lovelace. About that car, Mr. Spade.
Yeah, about that.
I must own that you outwitted me. I was rather proud of my little device, the disc on the charm bracelet, you know. When you showed it to me at my business establishment, I naturally thought you were authorized to fix the car.
Yeah, naturally.
However, I'm not averse to enterprise in a young man, and I'm prepared to pay for my blunder.
You said $1 million. I still couldn't accept, Mr. Lovelace.
Oh, why not?
I was hired to recover that car for my client. It's not mine to sell.
Well, it's certainly not hers.
I don't care whose it is. All I know is that my client's life is in danger, and it has something to do with that car.
Miss Estrada?
Yeah.
Excuse me one moment. Please arrive.
Hello, Papa.
That's all she said. And she stood there looking at me in that way that made you not care who she was double-crossing or why. Then she turned to Lovelace, alias Herman Heap.
How much does he know?
Alas, everything, I fear.
He has agreed to our terms?
Yes.
Good. I must have my bracelet back now, Sam.
Sure, it's right here in my... I reached in my coat pocket for the charm bracelet she'd given me to keep for her. It wasn't there. It wasn't in any of my pockets. I guessed that it was in one of Paco's pockets. Mitya watched me fumbling, her eyes blazing with anger.
Fool, you have lost it. We are helpless without that.
I thought it was the car you wanted.
Please, one thing at a time. I suggest that we first gain possession of the car.
Yes, Lovelace, you are right. First the car.
Ah, yes. This is the car at last. A princess in vulgar raiment, but still a princess. No royal coach carrying a king to a coronation ever held such riches.
You talk too much.
Oh, I do. Well, take your place at the wheel, Mitya. We shall drive out of here into a splendid future. After you, Mr. Spade.
No, Mr. Heath. After you.
Yes. Ironic, isn't it, that with all my varied interests, I've never learned to drive a car.
Será tu poco, viejo.
You seem kind of shaky, Mitya. You sure you can handle the car down the ramp?
I'm very good driver, Waffle.
Mitya, stop! Put on your brakes. There's a man coming up the ramp.
He was dead before I got to him. As I leaned over him, I saw the bracelet lying beside his hand. I picked it up and walked back to the car. Mitya and Herman Heath Lovelace were sitting in stony silence, glaring at each other.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Was the bracelet on him?
I didn't look.
Lovelace, go and frisk him.
Must I? It's very distasteful to me. Come, Mr. Spade.
You fool. We trust this detective. Go on.
Very well.
Get in, Sam. Get in. We leave him here. What's the matter? Is something wrong?
Oh, nothing at all.
Come back here! This is an outbreak! I mean, come back here, I say!
Please, Paco. A cigarette.
Sure. Here you are.
Gracias.
De nada.
I saw you pick up the bracelet. I meant that you should share with me. That is why I gave you the bracelet in the first place. I liked you.
Couldn't have been because you were safe as long as Tom didn't know where the bracelet was, and if you had to kill somebody for it, it would be me.
Please, querida, what does it matter now? We are together, we have the car, we have the bracelet, and the pig is dead.
That's what worries me.
Oh, surely you do not think I meant to kill him.
Of course not. Your foot just slipped. You stepped on the gas by accident.
Yes, that was it.
You won't stick, sweetheart. Not with me.
But with the police?
My story won't help you. I don't know enough.
Oh? Then I tell you everything. I was with Tom for a year. I hated him 365 days. I tried to run away. Always that Paco came after and brought me back. Then, Senor Lovelace came with the car. Senor Lovelace had much money, but he could not take it from the country. So he stole platinum. Some he received from refugees who had sent their fortunes abroad in that form. But there was no safe way to get it across the border.
So for a cut, Tom had the platinum made into fenders and welded onto the car. Why was the bracelet so important?
It was too dangerous for Lovelace to bargain directly. Tom was to get the money for the platinum and give the little piece of the fender as a token.
Yeah.
Lovelace would know who to give the car to when they showed it to him.
That's why he let me drive the car off the lot, huh?
I don't care, darling, even if you tried to steal it. Now we understand each other, no? You are tough, too. Tougher than Tom Tom, I think.
Well,
Now we have everything for ourselves, you and me. What do we care for the others, huh?
you make a good pitch, sweetheart. You look beautiful while you're making it. But I don't like you driving.
What do you mean?
Pull over. I'm driving this heap back to the city.
No.
I said pull over.
I won't let you do it. I don't care what happens.
Take it easy. You want to kill us both?
Sure, I will kill us both. We die together or we live together. Yes or no?
You're nuts.
Answer me.
The answer is no.
Bueno, you will see I mean what I say.
The fog thinned out just as we rounded a bend in the road. There was a point ahead with a sheer 300-foot drop to the sea. She jerked the car away from the pavement and steered straight at it. I grabbed the wheel and pushed it. The car skidded on gravel and slid sideways toward the cliff. I got the door open and tried to yank her out with me. She held on and kicked me until I rolled free. She didn't look very beautiful when I saw her for the last time. And the flashy convertible was a pile of junk. Very expensive junk, but junk all the same. I understand the federal men have confiscated the platinum and are holding Lovelace for questioning. I doubt if he'll crack. Nobody can embarrass a used car salesman. Period. End of report.
Sam, do you really like this racket we're in?
I hate it.
So do I. But don't let's ever go into any other racket.
It's a promise, sweetheart. Why, I'll never know.
Good night.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, was written for radio by Bob Tolman and Gil Dowd, with musical direction by Lud Gluskin. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Maureen Tuttle is Effie. Tonight's program was directed by Elliott Lewis.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil, again and again the choice of men who put good grooming.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam, I got it.
Got what, my pet?
A bank book, Sam.
Well, you must advertise in the Lost and Found right away, Effie, and find the owner. There might be sickness in the family.
Oh, but it's your bank book, Sam.
What?
Uh-huh, it has your name on it. Samuel Spade, account number 4.
It's a forgery. Somebody's trying to pin something on me. Lock it up and don't touch it until I get there.
Oh, all right. Did you make a lot of money on this one, too?
Got the check right in my pocket, $500.
Oh, Sam, we're making more money than a movie star.
Well, almost.
And all honestly, too. 600 last week and 500 this week.
Yeah, how about that? And life gives a 3-page spread to I Spy Molten. But we mustn't let it turn our heads, Effie.
No.
We gotta stay in there pitching. I'll be right down to pitch my report on the Adam Fig Caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. You've heard the saying, you never know until you try. Well, you'll never know how handsome your hair can look until you try Wild Root Cream Oil. See for yourself how neatly and naturally Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair. Note how effectively it relieves annoying dryness and removes loose, ugly dandruff. You can get Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic in either the big economy-size bottle or the handy tube. Or you can ask your barber to use it on your hair. But by all means, try it. Don't delay. Get it today. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
friend. Oh, you're going to love it.
Well, we got to watch these expenses, Effie. There's always something.
Yes, but this will be saving. It saves confusion. It saves fretting.
Now, this gadget here, what is it?
It's a minorobot.
A what-a-bot?
It's for busy men like yourself, Sam, so you don't have to burden your mind with petty details. You see, it has this dial on it, right here. And you drop these little cards in this slot. You don't have to worry about that. That's for me to take care of.
Oh, good.
Then, when you come into the office, and supposing you have an appointment with Mr. Jones at 2 o'clock, and you forgot about it, you just dial 2 o'clock, and the little card pops out. And it says Mr. Jones on it.
How do I remember to dial 2 o'clock?
Oh, well, maybe it's in the instruction book. But anyway, now go ahead, Sam, please. The card's right in there. Now, dial 2 o'clock. Go on, Sam.
Let's see.
Just like a telephone, Sam.
Now what do I do?
Well, give it time, Sam. It's thinking.
You must have forgotten. Jones. Mr. Jones. Effie, do you think it's dead?
Oh, Sam, I don't understand it. It was working perfectly. Well, I'll take it straight back first thing in the morning.
You'll have to. It'll never find the way itself. You got your book, sweetheart?
Yes, Sam. I don't understand. It was working perfectly.
Well, that's all right, honey. It doesn't matter. Date October 5, 1947, to Hillary Exxon Esquire from Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Oh, honey, it's only a memo robot. Subject, the Atom Fig Caper. Dear Mr. Exxon, October 2nd in San Francisco was one of those days that you see blown off the calendar by a gust of wind in the movies to denote the time is passing. It was a day for scraping off the minutes with a fingernail file and wondering whether the display ad I'd paid for in the classified section of the phone book wasn't just a waste of money. It certainly wasn't the day I'd expect a leprechaun to walk into my office. He said his name was Adam Fig. He said he was the butler at Exxon Manor in Los Nidos.
The limousine, Mr. Spade, is waiting to take you away. We mustn't keep them waiting, must we?
Of course we mustn't. Who mustn't we?
Why, Mr. Hillary, of course, sir.
Oh, Mr. Hillary.
And old Mr. Exxon. The old gentleman is very ill.
Dr. Feige's office is down the hall. Turn to your right, second door.
Well, I assure you, sir, that Mr. Exxon is the best of medical care. Your duty will be simple, to prevent his death.
Do I donate blood or just frighten away the evil spirits?
Oh, it isn't quite that, sir. Someone is trying to kill Mr. Exxon. He's a very sick man, and I'm sure he'd prefer dying from natural causes.
I get $25 a day in expenses.
Here is an ample amount in advance. But you should know, sir, that the old man is a nasty, cantankerous, villainous, crooked, intimidating...
$500? Please, Fig, you're talking about the man I love. Los Nidos was at least an overnight caper, so on my way out, my lovely and charming secretary, Miss Perrine, handed me a brown paper bag which contained A, one pair of socks, darned, B, one shirt, ironed, and C, the apple which she always polishes for me the night before. We arrived at your large Southern-style mansion 2 hours later.
Pig! Oh, Pig, where the devil have you been?
The city, sir.
I can't find the keys to the liquor closet. Where are all the maids? What happened to that cook we hired yesterday? Who is this man, and why is he wearing that necktie?
This is Mr. Spade, sir, the detective.
I'm Hillary Exxon. Come in, please. Go on upstairs, Pig. See what that girl is doing to my father. I don't believe she's in this at all.
Very good, sir.
In here, Mr. Spade. Pardon the condition of the house. The old man has been firing the servants again.
Your father, you mean?
Yes. Every time he gets shot at, he fires all the servants.
He gets shot at pretty often?
About once a year. In the fall.
You always hire a detective?
No. Oh, dear.
I'm not keeping you up, am I?
No, excuse me, please. It's much worse this time. I can't get any sleep. Guns going off in the middle of the night. The whole household disturbed.
When and where was he last shot at?
Yesterday morning at about 1:30. I dug the bullet out of the woodwork myself, a .38 caliber, embedded in the door frame that leads to Miss Kaywood's room. That's his nurse.
Was she with him at the time?
No, Dad sleeps like a baby, full of sedatives. She sees to that.
Shot come from outside?
Yes, but we found nobody on the grounds. No traces of anybody. I don't know whether Dad knows who shot at him or not. He's such a closed-mouthed old devil.
You don't care very much for your father, do you?
To be frank, Mr. Spade, if hating weren't such an effort, I would despise him. He is without a doubt... Well, listen.
Get out of here!
There, that's just a sample. Well, come on, let's see what's eating him now.
Get out! I tell you, I won't stand for it. Well, you don't have to
you stand for? Take that silly painted face out of my sight.
Don't you dare.
Get out!
I'm quitting. I'm quitting, Mr. Exxon. I can't stand it another minute. Yelling, screaming, throwing things at
You must have done something to set him off.
I didn't. I tell you, I didn't.
This is Mr. Spade, Miss Kaywood.
Oh, a detective?
Will it make you happier to know that I'm a private detective, Miss Kaywood?
Well, Mr. Spade, I only hope you can prevent a murder. If there's any way at all that I can help,
Thanks. I'll see you downstairs after I've talked to the old man.
You'd better go in alone, Spade. Oh, Miss Kaywood, do you have a throat spray downstairs? I seem to be congested.
Oh, go away. Go away. Go away. Oh, well, wasting ammunition. Who are you? If you're a total stranger, come on in. Well, don't be afraid, son. Come on over where I can look at you. It's hard to keep my eyes open. Oh, no, I mustn't do that. Oh, so you're the detective, eh?
That's right, Pop. If you want to take a little nap or something, I'll come back later.
What did I say just now? Come back later? No. There's no reason for you to come back later. I'll say everything I have to say right now. The shot woke me. I didn't see anything. I don't know anything. I've got a million enemies. I can't remember the names of any of them.
Why don't you try to remember? I could have them checked.
Wasting your time, Sonny. In my day, I've wiped out 100 men, and I'll outlive anybody who's gunning for me now.
You must be proud of your past, huh?
Proud? Sonny, a past like mine is the finest thing an old man can have. I've swindled my partners and betrayed my friends. I've turned state's evidence just to see my associate get sent up for 20 years. And they say my wife died under peculiar circumstances, and I got rich off her insurance. Now I'm done talking. Do me a favor, son, please. I've got to get a half hour, 20 minutes sleep alone. You'll keep them out, everybody. Please, will you?
Sure, Pop. Go ahead. Go on, sleep.
Oh, thank you.
He closed his eyes, rolled over, and fell into a heavy sleep. I stood there a moment, looking down at the frail, wasted old body. Then I cased the room. In taking the bullet out of the door, Hillary had done a good job of ruining any chance there might have been of proving the direction it had come from. I strolled out on the balcony. It was a pretty night. I lit a cigarette and took it in. Then I heard a door open and close softly behind me. Nurse Kaywood was at your father's bedside. She was filling a hypodermic from a small vial of bluish liquid. He didn't awaken when she jabbed it into his arm. Then she saw me standing in the doorway. She hastily dropped the medicine vial into her uniform pocket and came around the bed to meet me.
Oh, Mr. Spade, thank heaven. Why, when I saw you standing there in the half night, I thought you might be...
Thought I was who?
Why, the man who fired the shot.
It was a man?
I don't know. I didn't see it happen. I just assumed that...
You shouldn't have done it. I warned you, sir. Eleanor.
Oh, we're disturbing him. Let's talk outside.
Okay.
Oh, it's good to breathe something besides sick room air.
I thought you got used to things like that in your profession.
Why are you so unfriendly, Mr. Spade? Nurses are human, aren't detectives.
Try me, sweetheart.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of me. But after a week in this horrible house, that poor old man, he's frightened. He's really frightened.
What of?
Why, the shots.
38 caliber or hypodermic?
Surely you don't think that He's supposed to be under sedatives. The doctor's orders.
Sorry, sweetheart. It's my job to suspect everybody.
Can't you forget your job, even for a moment?
Sure. If you don't mind the fact that I know you're a liar, that I'd make book you didn't come here primarily as a nurse, and what's worse, your act's not even convincing.
Oh. Is it that bad, Sam?
Yeah. Almost bad enough to be good. Come here.
Oh, I hate you.
It was a very satisfactory love scene for both of us. For reasons of her own, Barbara wanted to keep me out of that sick room for a while, and she did. For reasons of my own, I wanted to get that medicine vial out of her uniform pocket, and I did. Then, as suddenly as we had fallen into love, we fell out again. After she'd gone to her room, I went back to my sentry duty around the house. Under a light on the front veranda, I examined the bottle from which Barbara had taken the injection for your father. It was labeled sodium thanatol and had been dispensed by a firm called Ibis Chemicals Limited in Cairo, Egypt.
house, high and frenzied. I started running toward Barbara Kaywood's room. I slammed the terrace door open and found the light switch. Barbara was sitting upright in the center of a bed. Her face jerked up so abruptly that it seemed a neck had snapped. She clutched both hands to her chest and fell face down among the bedclothes, staining them with her blood. I don't know whether I went through, over, or around the screen that stood between her room and the old man's. I circled Exxon's bed. He lay on the floor on his side facing the window. I went outside. A .38 automatic lay on the ground a few yards away from the building. I put that into my pocket and listened. No shadows moving. Nothing. Then he was on me before I could be sure he wasn't a medium-sized tree.
Break your back. Need the light.
The warm stuff in my cheek might have been the thing's blood or mine. It gathered me up and bent me back and tore at my throat. Then I remembered that hands are stronger than fingers. I started with his thumbs. He lay there for a moment, then his huge body began to twitch. He was holding his fingers and sobbing like a baby. I pulled him up to his feet, poked him in the back with the flat of my hand. I followed him through an opening in the hedges and down a long, pitch-dark lane toward the lights of a squat brick house set on the top of a slight rise. As we approached it, a door opened and light streamed out onto the porch. The tall man framed in the doorway was the last person in the world I expected to see.
Ah, Marcus, you brought it. Oh, master, very delightful service, but how much pain in fingers.
Always complaining, Marcus. Welcome, Mr. Spade. Come in, my dear fellow. Come in. I've been expecting you. The lost family fortune by blackmailing me.
And if you don't remit, Exxon could have you booked for forgery, blackmail, definition of character.
Oh, my dear fellow, please. This is most painful. But if I had but the original letter, I could destroy it and go back to the felt. Ah, the felt.
What happened to it?
That pig, that stinker stole it. He burgled my home.
Are you taking pot shots at old Exxon?
Well, don't be a fool, man. I want Exxon to stay alive. I must find out some part of his life which will have an exchange value that will cancel out what he has on me. By the way, old thing, you met Miss Kaywood.
Mm-hmm.
At the present moment, she's milking me for $150 a day.
Oh?
She's supposed to go to the old man by whatever means necessary into talking about his past. And that information she is to bring to me.
Well, that ought to be easy. Exxon brags about his past.
Now, so far, I've learned that Hillary Exxon stole 2 heifers at a livestock show in Abilene in 1906.
I feel for you, Captain. That wouldn't get much on the current market, would it?
My dear fellow, I've a proposition to make to you. Should you ferret out anything that would be of value to me, I'll reward you handsomely.
Well, maybe something can be arranged, Captain.
Good, excellent. May I have your word on that?
Well, there isn't much time, Captain. I'd better trot on back.
I'll show you to the door, sir. And let me warn you, Mr. Spade, for your own good, should you ever hear the thrum of Ibis wings, run, flee.
I assured him that I would heed his warning, bade him good night, and started back down the lane in the direction of Action Manor. Business was going on as usual. There were no shots this time, only the scream. When I got to Barbara's room, you and Adam were standing at her bedside trying to quiet her down.
Well, Mr. Spade, is this the way you guard the house against intruders? Where have you been?
Ask Adam.
What does he mean by that thing?
I'm sure I don't know, sir. I've not left the house.
What happened here?
Oh, she woke up screaming. She said someone had come into the room and torn off her bandages. A nightmare, of course.
Please, I want to talk to Mr. Spade. No, please go. Adam, you go too. Please, Hillary, you go too.
Good. Some questions I want to ask you, sweetheart, alone.
But look here, Spade, look here. She just had a terrific shock. She shouldn't be questioned.
The code of detective transcends that of the medical, Mr. Hillary. Huh? Perhaps he should have a few minutes alone with Miss Kaywood.
Oh, very well. I suppose you know best.
Remember what the doctor said, Miss Barbara. Not too much exertion.
What happened, Barbara?
Oh, it could have been a dream. Somebody was standing over me in the darkness and peering down at me. And then he started to rip off my bandages, and I screamed. And when Fig came into the room and he turned on the lights, he was gone. It could have been a dream, Sam, and I could have been clawing at the bandages myself in my sleep.
But you weren't. It wasn't a dream. I've been talking to Captain Sherry.
And then I thought... Oh, how much do you know?
That you've been feeding the old man truth serum to get him to talk in his sleep.
Oh.
How much talking has he done?
Well, plenty.
How much you told Sherry?
Well, just as little as possible.
Why?
Because, Sam, if we can keep that old man alive and out of jail long enough to sell what we know to Sherry for what it's really worth, we'd be fools not to do it.
What makes you so sure you'll stay alive long enough to collect, sweetheart?
Well, because you're going to help me, aren't you, Sam?
So I helped her, but not for the reason she thought. I made a lot of noise leaving her room and going to mine. Going back, I didn't wear any shoes. I slipped into a clothes press in her room so quietly that even she didn't hear me. I left the door slightly ajar and waited. Time passed, and I was stiff from standing still. It happened at about 3 a.m. The crazy, feverish glare of his eyes told me that the threat of the gun in my hands meant nothing to him. I jumped to his side, twisted the knife away from him, picked him up in my arms, and carried him, kicking, clawing, and swearing, back to his bed. He lay there, breathing hard. Then he smiled.
You're a smart one, Sonny. You had me figured out the first time you came in here, didn't you?
Not quite, Mr. Exxon. The gun under your window was the clincher.
That gun? Sure. I had it under my pillow all the time. I got tired of shooting into door frames.
Look, you're dying, Mr. Exxon. There's no use trying to make up stories now.
You're right, Sonny. I knew that nurse would sit up in bed after I fired tonight. And then I'd let her have it right through the screen.
Why?
You know why, well enough. She was doping me up and sneaking in here at night, listening to what I was babbling about.
Maybe you weren't saying anything important, Mr. Exxon.
I might have, Sonny. I might have. 14 years ago, I killed my wife. I wanted to carry the secret to my grave.
You nearly made it at that.
Spade! What's happened?
Is he dead?
He's dead.
Did he say anything, sir? Did he confess anything?
You must tell me if he said anything.
I didn't hear him say a word.
Oh, well. Yeah, Mr. Spade. Charged with a certain texture, a significant quality.
There's a certain smell, yes.
An omen. You can inhale it, sir. Journey thou to Nairobi on the veldt. Tarry 7 days, and you will collect the fabulous golden skull of Wizami, king of the Bojamas. Aha! Marcus!
Yes, master.
Unhook the hooker. Pack the marmalade. We're off to the veldt.
Just then, a flock of birds broke across the horizon, screaming. There must have been thousands of them, but not ibis, Mr. Exxon. Vultures. I suppose if you're going to pay any attention to omens, it's a good thing to know your birds. Period. End of report.
Right now, I have something to say to every man who doesn't use a hair tonic. To every man who says, I don't believe in it or I don't need it. That all depends on what you mean when you say hair tonic. If you mean the old-fashioned greasy kind that leaves your hair smelling like a perfume factory, you're absolutely right. But remember, Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic is nothing like that. Wild Root Cream Oil is an entirely new kind of hair grooming preparation. There's not a drop of alcohol in Wild Root Cream Oil, and it contains soothing lanolin that's like the oil of your skin. Most important, Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair the right way, neatly and naturally. Never leaves your hair sticky or greasy. Get the big economy-size bottle and the handy new tube that's economical, easy to pack when you travel, and grand for the bathroom cabinet. Don't delay. Get it today. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first.
Well, Effie,
Sam, the memo robot works after all. I told you it would.
Yeah, it just takes a little time, sweetheart.
Oh, read the card, Sam. Now, you see? You'd know you were supposed to see Mr. Jones at 2 o'clock. Isn't it wonderful?
Well, this card doesn't even mention Jones.
Huh? What does it say, Sam?
Well, it says, journey thou to Friskin's Drugstore, wager $5 on Ira W. in the third at Belmont Park.
Oh, Sam, it's Psyche.
Harry, but a moment.
Yes?
thou wilt lose $5.
Oh, good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd, with musical direction by Lud Gluskin. This is Dick Joy, reminding you that next Sunday, author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, a choice of men who put good grooming first. Smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, for quick, good grooming and to relieve dryness between permanents. Mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.